A sold-out crowd here at the Fargo Dome, Gate City Bank Field in Fargo, North Dakota. Number 4 UNI coming in to take on the top-ranked North Dakota State Bison in a battle of heavyweights in Missouri Valley Conference football. Good afternoon, everyone. Brian Shawn joined by Kevin Feeney as we'll have the call for today's action and what should be one heck of a matchup between two programs that have had a lot of success in the last several years.
And you know, I think any Bison season ticket holder all season looked at the home schedule and marked this one right now that this is the game here in this Fargo Dome up until this point and probably throughout the rest of this season.
A sold-out crowd of close to 19,000 taking this one in, and they are fired up for their 4-0 NDSU Bison. The top-ranked Bison take the field against the Panthers, both with Big 12 victories. UNI knocking off Iowa State back in late August. North Dakota State going down to Manhattan, Kansas, and beating the defending Big 12 champion Kansas State Wildcats. And Kevin, when you look at these two teams matching up, certainly we look at the battle up front. We talked about that, but I think on top of that, Kevin, some of those big plays, turnovers, penalties, all those little things, sometimes that can add up to be big things, are going to be critical, especially here in the first half.
Well, and they're going to be, and I think this is going to be a different style offense than what the Bison defense has played kind of throughout this whole season. They're a very dynamic, very offensive-built type team. They want to try and outscore you, and not saying that their defense is poor, but on the same token, I think they've got some inexperience on the defensive side, and they've really tried to tailor a lot of their stuff and their explosive players on the offensive side of the football.
And of course, NDSU, the home field advantage this year. Sire Cole Morgan, the sophomore quarterback, freshman of the year in the Missouri Valley Conference last year. And of course, Brock Jensen, the 4-year starter out of Waupaca, Wisconsin, has won almost 40 games as a starter at NDSU. We'll be back with the opening kickoff coming up from the Fargo Dome after this. Gate City Bank Field at the Fargo Dome. UNI taking on top-ranked North Dakota State, and the Sanford Health and Orthopedic Sports Medicine injury report. Ryan Drevelo, a concussion last week in practice. He is probable to go today after missing the South Dakota State game. And Levon Perry held out of practice on Thursday, likely to go here today. But we do have a couple of updates on the offensive line. Center Josh Colville will not play today. He is out with concussion-like symptoms. And Tyler Gimestad, starting right guard the last few years, he will not start today because of a knee injury. So Jack Plankers, the freshman from Leonard, North Dakota, played his high school football just down the road at Kindred, will actually start today at guard. Jesse Hines from Beatrice, Nebraska, will get the start at center. And Kevin, that changes the dynamics a little bit on the offensive line for North Dakota State, a team that really likes to run the football.
And you know, anytime you got to change at center, especially when you're going to face a team that's going to play an odd front, which means they're going to have a nose guard lined up in a zero, head up on the center each and every snap. Depending on how physical that matchup is going to be, I think it's going to be a tall tale sign to see how that Bison offensive line is going to be able to move the football between the tackles.
We caught a glimpse there of Coach Mark Farley in his 12th season from Northern Iowa. Has been a part of the program ever since he played there. Has led UNI to 7 playoff appearances and a national championship game title appearance. Did not win the title that year in 2005. But Coach Farley has had a lot of success, and he's done it with a lot of guys on the coaching staff that have UNI ties.
And you know what? I think that's a credit to their program. They feel like it's almost like the once a Bison, always a Bison. They've had a lot of players that have gone onto their coaching staffs. They've had some turnover because of their success that they've had. And obviously we know about the Coach Kleiman's history and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's going to be an interesting dynamic throughout this football game.
The captains out at midfield for the coin toss for UNI. That includes Dan Kruger, Jack Rummels, defensive lineman Chris Jepson, along with Zach Kutkamp. Missed all of last year with a knee problem. He is back now as a backup linebacker for this UNI squad. And for North Dakota State, Billy Turner, number 77, Cole Giert, number 93, both Jurek on the defensive line. Marcus Williams, the All-American corner. And Andrew Grothman, the senior fullback from Hillsboro. Both teams will shake hands, and we will kick things off to start things off. Today's game is brought to you in high definition by the North Dakota Corn Growers, who invite you to try the new E15, America's most tested fuel, trusted by NASCAR for over 4 million miles. More at ndcorn.org. Kevin, obviously you want to get the crowd into it early. If you're North Dakota State, or for UNI, you'd like a fast start here to try to keep that crowd quiet and under control. You know what, I think talking with Coach Vigen very briefly, you know, the Northern Iowa, secondary is a little bit inexperienced, so they're not going to take a lot of chances. They're not going to bring a lot of five-man pressures, which means we've got to be patient in the passing game and probably take a lot of that quick game that Brock Jensen and Zach Fra and all the wealth of receivers that the Bison have. Take what they're going to give them, but at some point, Coach Vigen's got to pick and choose his spots and take some shots downfield, which I didn't think that they had a lot of opportunities to last week against South Dakota State. And talking to Coach Vigen about that as well, South Dakota State, a lot of 3- and 4-man pressures, and the field conditions really hurt receivers trying to get in and out of breaks. He said that really played a factor, as North Dakota State will receive. UNI will kick things off. Tyler Siebertson, senior kicker from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Young man that's had a lot of success in that Panther program. Almost 85% completion on his field goal attempts, tops in the FCS for his career. Marcus Williams and Ryan Smith will be back deep for North Dakota State. And the crowd is into it. This is another Peterson Farm Seed kickoff. Kick off your planning season with Peterson Farm Seed. Severson puts the toe to it. Marcus Williams at his own goal line. Up to the 10, the 15 follows some blockers, and Marcus Williams lost the football. And it is recovered by Northern Iowa. And the Panthers, a big play on special teams, have it at the Bison 22. Blake White, the recovery. It was a good kick, a very good return setup. It looked like Marcus Williams was going to have some room to run. Unfortunately for the Bison, guy put his helmet right on that football, and that came out. So the Bison defense has not given up a point in 9 quarters. They will be tested here on the opening drive for UNI. Sire Colmorgan, the sophomore from Jenks, Oklahoma, gives it to David Johnson, and Johnson stacked up after a gain of 1 to the 21, will bring up 2nd and 9. Your Shields starting lineups for North Dakota State defensively: Kyle Emanuel, Levon Perry, Ryan Drevlo back in the lineup after missing last week at South Dakota State, and of course Cole Jurek. Grant Olson, the leading tackler on this squad, the senior from Plymouth, Minnesota. And in the secondary, the All-American Williams, who just coughed that one up a minute ago, and C.J. Smith, the sophomore corners, Christian Dudzik, and Colton Heagle at the safeties for the Bison. 2nd and 9 coming up. Colmorgan again gives inside, not much room. Johnson inches ahead for about 1 more to the 20-yard line. Will bring up 3rd and 8. Here's your Northern Iowa offense, and it's a dangerous offense, an offense that has been churning up the yards and the points the last couple of weeks. The offensive line, Rathje, really the surprise. Redshirt freshman starting at center. David Johnson, we talked about him. Kevin Vereen and Chad Owens are the wide receivers. Phil Wright, we don't believe is playing today. We saw him without pads in the pregame, so we do not think he is going to be a go today. Isaac Lintz will start in his spot. 3rd and 8 coming up for the Panthers at the 20. Colmorgan under pressure across the middle, incomplete. Lintz looking for a flag. There is none, and Northern Iowa will have to settle for a field goal attempt on their first possession. You know what, looking at their play calling there, I thought it was interesting. They played pretty conservative on 1st and 2nd down, putting kind of all their eggs in one basket here on 3rd down, making a tough, incomplete pass. But I really think Northern Iowa should have taken a shot on 1st or 2nd down, tried to get this Bison crowd a little bit. I think it woke them up there on that fumble on the kickoff return right in front of the student section. C.J. Smith breaking that pass attempt up, and Severson will come on to attempt the field goal. He is 7 of 9 this season. His attempt here is up And it is good. Sievertson boots it through from 37, and UNI takes the early lead on the Egg Country Farm Credit Services scoreboard.
That's easily a win for the Bison defense in that situation. 2-yard gain there on the full set of downs. Great job redeeming themselves. Now the offense needs to get back out on that field. Special teams need to be solid.
Sievertson, a kicker that has had a lot of success at UNI, and had mentioned one of the things he does when he's kicking a ball is he actually sings a song in his head. Love Train. Sings the song in his head. It calms him down. So that's the secret of the success for Sievertson throughout his career at UNI. And it must have worked right there.
I'll tell you what, it's a good snap, good hold, nice looking kick.
So we'll do it again. Marcus Williams back out with Ryan Smith after the Bison defense holds UNI to just 2 yards after the turnover. And North Dakota State's offense is yet to take the field. Against that 3-4 look. And Kevin, again with the new offensive line, makeshift offensive line with Plankers and Hines coming in at center and guard. What does that change here for NDSU?
Well, you know what, I'm more interested in what it changes for Northern Iowa, I guess. I think they're going to try and stick with the same game plan offensively as Bison are, but defensively, I'm wondering how long it's going to take that Bison or the Northern Iowa defensive staff to put together that there are different bodies out there, because it was something that happened mid to late this week. Williams
again at his own 2. Bounces outside, and there's a flag that comes out as he's taken down at the 25-yard line. This one likely coming back as an illegal block in the back is signaled by the official.
2 things that you never want on special teams as a coach. Number 1, any turnovers on a special teams unit, and number 2,
illegal block in the back, number 37 on the return team, 10 yards from the spot of the foul. 1st and 10.
So instead of North Dakota State having it 1st and 10 at their 25, they will start at their own 10-yard line, trailing 3-0 here in the early going.
And Brian, what I was getting at with that, seeing how Northern Iowa was going to adjust to this, they've shown tendencies in the past, not this year, on stemming their defensive line, which means that they're going to line up and just show where they're going to line up and which gap they're going to have. Where in the past they've had some movement, and any type of movement takes away some of the check game. And then also some of the confusion with some of those new offensive linemen that the Bison might have out on the field.
Read option goes to John Crockett, bouncing outside. Crockett eludes 1 tackler and then driven back after a pickup of 3. Tim Kilfoy on the stop there for UNI. Bison offense starting lineup brought to you by Shields. Offensive line again, Colville and Gimestad are out, replaced by Plankers and Hines. Sam O'Jury, the tailback. Andrew Drothman, the senior from Hillsborough. Ryan Smith and Vra, the 2 leading receivers on this Bison offense. And of course, Brock Jensen completing 68% of his passes. He's thrown 7 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. He's run for 3 more. Perkins, the man in motion. Quick drop, fires in the flat high, looking for Ryan Smith. And that will bring up 3rd and long here for NDSU. Shields starting lineup for that UNI defense. And again, it's more of a 3-4 look. Xavier Williams is your guy that'll play that 0 technique. Jake Farley, the son of the head coach, is playing in the middle. He's the leading tackler. And DeAndre Hall is kind of what they call a rover, a real explosive player. Brent Vigen had a lot of good things to say about him. And they're also starting a true freshman at corner in Jamison Whiting. So Jensen on 3rd and long. Plenty of time in the pocket's going to take off and run. Jensen inches forward, and he gets it. Puts his shoulder down up to the 21. That'll be enough for a Bison 1st down. And we do have a flag back at the line of scrimmage, so this one may be coming back as we look at Jensen lower the shoulder and pick up the 1st down. And it appears it's against NDSU.
Holding number 76 on the offense. Half the distance to the goal. Remains 3rd down.
And that is Jesse Hines, the junior from Beatrice, Nebraska. Hines missed all of last season with a torn pectoral muscle, and he's been working his way back into the lineup. He's played a little bit, but does not have a lot of game experience here in 2013.
And, you know, I think it's going to be key right now, like we talked about, whether that nose guard can physically handle him. He's a little bit smaller than what Northern Iowa has played with in the past. But on the same token, I think you're going to see some movement around on that defensive line because of the changes inside.
So instead of 1st and 10 at the 21, it'll be 3rd and 13 at their own 6. Jensen stepping up, dumps it across the middle to O'Jury. Caught, maybe pickup of about 7, but he's wrapped up and taken down by Farley at the 14, and NDSU will have to punt. Nodak Mutual Insurance replay.
Tough situation on 3rd and long. Of course, anytime you get in those type of situations, you can see right there, Brock had really no time as that his feet were stable where he could look downfield and try to find a receiver.
Breon Carnes was deep there for Northern Iowa as Ben LeCompte bounces this one down to about the 37-yard line, and that's where the Panthers will have their 2nd possession here this afternoon. And if you're Coach Mark Farley, you got to be happy with what you've seen so far. A 3-and-out on one side, then of course the turnover leads to points after the botched and fumbled kickoff return by Marcus Williams.
Certainly everything is going to script for Northern Iowa. On the flip side of that, penalties and some of the turnovers type of issues, just not the crispest that Coach Vigen talked about last week offensively. It's kind of starting out this way. And what we talked about before the pregame is need to get off to a fast start, need to get this Bison crowd into it. Defensively, they need to try and get a quick 3-and-out here and get that offense back on the field.
So Cole Morgan will start in the shotgun. 3 receivers to the right. Paul Morgan off to a great start. He has yet to throw an interception here in 2013. Fires. That one is caught by Chad Owens at about the 39. Pickup of just a couple. Paul Morgan completing about 70% of his passes, Kevin, on the Nodak Mutual Insurance replay. Well designed, well executed here by UNI.
Very nice, and it's exactly what we talked in the pregame. You're going to get that Johnson moved all over the place. You see a shift right now. They flex their tight end out, put him out and into an empty backfield, quick passing game. It's going to force that Bison defense to get into those matchups that we talked about.
2nd and 8 coming up from the 39. The give will go to Johnson. Excuse me, that is not Johnson. That is a rare carry for Tivis Smith, redshirt freshman out of Davenport, Iowa. Smith, the 2nd leading rusher on this UNI squad, picks up about 6.
Well-designed play. They got Bison locked up into man coverage, so you're going to see that situation again where they're going to put Johnson out into motion and try to make it a one-on-one tackle, which the Bison made right there in that open field.
3rd and 4 coming up from the 43. Johnson back in the lineup. He is the tailback next to Cole Morgan. Quick across the middle, looking for Owens. This one incomplete. Brian Shepard on the coverage for NDSU, and UNI again will be forced to punt it away. Just a tad overthrown, Kevin.
Yeah, and you know what? It would have been a tough squeeze for that. Running the guy down the chute, we had a guy underneath, safety over the top. Would have had taken a perfect throw to pick up that 1st down.
So a 3-and-out here for UNI, and the Bison will try to get this one back with some decent field position as Christian Dudzik stands back at about his own 10, and this one a low liner taken by Dudzik at his 18. He steps out of bounds at the 19, and that's where the Bison will have it when we come back on the Ag Country Farm Credit Services scoreboard. Northern Iowa leads it 3-0 here in Fargo.
Guys, you mentioned Jesse Hines getting the start today. Josh Colville out with that concussion. Was actually involved in a single car accident last night. Was knocked off his moped. They said he's just lucky to only have a concussion. Hopefully he's all right.
All right, thank you very much, Jamal. In a scary situation as it gets darker outside, as we have another false start. I think this is going to go against the redshirt freshman, Jack Plankers.
False start, number 70 on the offense. 5-yard penalty remains, 1st down.
Well, if you're wondering what kind of impact it was going to have, we've had a holding call on a backup center and a false start on the backup guard.
So again, these guys have played some, but not a lot of reps this season. So again, they're new. Certainly even Plankers to this position. When he did start against Ferris State, it was at tackle. It was not at guard. So this is a position he's been working in at, but does not have a lot of experience. So 1st and 15 coming up for the Bison offense. Standard power goes to John Crockett, squeaks through a hole. picks up nice yardage. 7 yards on first down up to the 22-yard line. Will bring up 2nd and 8.
And that was something coming into this football game that the Bison didn't know if they were going to have as much success running the A-gap power because of the different styles of defensive line play that they were going to see. Thinking more inside zone and then setting up to try to get to the edge and that outside zone or quick game outside.
So John Crockett in on this series. Sam O'Jury we saw in the first series, and they will alternate. And another false start coming up. And I believe this time it was Billy Turner. And not a clean start here.
False start, number 77 on the offense. 5-yard penalty remains 2nd down.
So again, NDSU going to be backed up 5 yards instead of a 2nd and 8, 2nd and 13. And there's a look at Craig Bohl and his 11th season here at NDSU, the winningest coach in program history. And he doesn't look real happy right now with some of the things he's seen on the offensive side of the ball. Ryan Smith in motion. The give goes to Crockett, and John Crockett spins out of 1 tackle, and there goes John Crockett down the sidelines, picks up a first down up to the 34. Wow, what a move in the open field by number 23.
Tell you what, sometimes you just got to say our dude's better than your dude. And that's one of those situations where it's just outside zone, which we just talked about. We said that they thought they could get to the edge. Northern Iowa brought edge pressure running right into the teeth of it. So you got to say Northern Iowa on paper had that thing schemed out pretty good. But when Crockett makes a move like this, that's tough.
A missed tackle there by Ray Mitchell, a transfer from the University of Kansas. Jensen to throw under pressure, and down he goes. Sack made by Colin Albrecht, and that is the 6th sack of the year for Albrecht, the senior out of Cedar Falls.
Little twist on the interior. Once again, I think the defensive staff is starting to pick up that they've got some fresh bodies on that interior, starting to create different movements. There's a twist where the nose guard's going to go one direction and the defensive tackle's coming all the way around underneath.
2nd and 15 coming up from the 29 after the loss of 5. The give will go inside, and Xavier Williams takes down Crockett for no gain. And Williams, a guy that's having some success as well. 3.5 sacks, some tackles for loss. A junior from Grandview, Missouri.
This is a couple now possessions in a row that the Bison have been forced into 3rd and long. Seen in the past, UNI is not going to bring a whole lot of 5-man pressures, which means they're going to try and stay in 2 deep. Coach Vegan knows that they're going to have true Tampa 2 a lot of times in 2nd and long and 3rd and long.
Different look here on offense for the Bison. Jensen will dump it off to Derek Lang, and Langer will get what he can. Picks up about 5 up to the 33, but that will force a punting situation for the Bison.
That stacked alignment, what they're trying to take a look at is Bison defense or offensive staff is trying to say, are we going to get man coverage? And you can see right out of the gate there that I think they were expecting maybe some pressure. They didn't get that pressure. They stayed in the Tampa 2 deep, which means that alignment doesn't really change anything for the secondary.
DeAndre Hall coming up and making that tackle for UNI as Ben LeCompte boots this one away to Breon Carnes, the transfer from Nebraska, an electric returner trying to get outside. And he's going nowhere. Colton Hegel took him down for a loss on the return at the 23.
Great discipline right there on Colton Hegel's part. A lot of times, a lot of young players will come down and try to press that and try to make the big hit. You can see Colton did a nice job of just staying outside, keeping his feet, keeping his hips and shoulders square. You can see it right on the left side of your screen right there. He's just making sure that he wasn't going to get outside.
And Carnes, again, at the backup quarterback, they will use him in some wildcat looks from time to time, but also a guy that's a returner for both kicks and punts and a very dangerous young man in the open field. Cole Morgan back out for his 3rd series. UNI has yet to get a first down this afternoon. That pass is caught by Vereen, and Kevin Vereen, with his first reception of the afternoon, picks up about 7 on first down up to the 30.
Little play action pass on first down. I do believe that this is going to be UNI's only true way to get on course, stay on course, and get into the second and mediums, third and shorts, instead of getting into second and third and long. They've got to be able to be balanced on first down.
4 receivers in this set for UNI. This time they will fake. Cole Morgan will keep it. And Cole Morgan will have enough for the first down of the game here for Northern Iowa up to the 33. A little read option look there for the Panthers.
And you can tell the Bison coaching staff very aware where Johnson is. They've taken him away to this point. UNI does a little quarterback read option. That's the only time an offense is truly playing 11 on 11 is when you're using your quarterback in that run game. And that's going to be something that I believe that we may see the Nebraska transfer in if they are not able to move the football running the ball.
Cole Morgan going deep, looking for Vereen, and this one is caught. One-handed grab at the Bison 33, and they beat the All-American Marcus Williams. Great pass by Cole Morgan.
Even better catch.
Wow. And Vereen, a young man that had a really tough year. Missed most of the year with an injury, lost his mother. And coming out here in 2013 and making up for a rough 2012. Already 2 catches here this afternoon, 20 now on the season. Play action again. Cole Morgan tipped off the hands of Breon Carnes, the backup quarterback. As you saw there, lining up in wideout. This one incomplete will bring up 2nd and 10. C.J. Smith on the coverage.
You know, we've talked a lot in the past about the Bison. What they're doing is they're calling a run play. This is an outside zone play that the quarterback's going to have the freedom to take the backside hitch. It's that little smoke and key thing we've been talking about that the Bison do so well offensively, and give that quarterback an option. If there's not a flat player over there, just take the candy and play getch with the hitch.
Here comes the blitz across the middle, tipped, and off the helmet of the intended receiver, Jacob Rathmaker, and it falls incomplete. Carlton Littlejohn tipped it away. Athletic play there by Littlejohn, and Dudzik and Smith were bearing down on that tip pass. 3rd and 10 coming up. And this play has just got loud. My goodness.
Without a yard on this, we're talking about a 50-yard field goal attempt, so it's going to be interesting to see if Northern Iowa really pushes the field or tries to play for yardage.
Cole Morgan across the middle. This one is broken up. Marcus Williams and Christian Dudzik were both there. Isaac Lintz was the intended target, so that will bring up an interesting situation, and Severson is coming on here for the field goal attempt. And this will be close to 50 yards. As a matter of fact, right at 50 yards. He is 0 for 1 from 40-plus so far this season.
Bison putting Christian Dudzik. Oh, now he's pulling up. I thought for a minute there they were going to put him back just in case they were expecting some sort of quick kick out of this.
Severson will boot it. It is up. Is it long enough? It is, and it is good. Severson good from 50, and UNI takes a 6-0 lead on the Ag Country Farm Credit Services scoreboard. And that one, Kevin, had just enough to get through, but boy, did he boot it. So Northern Iowa has come in to Fargo and taken a 6-0 lead on NDSU. We'll be back with more from the Fargo Dome after this timeout. A look at Craig Bohl, and Kevin, what's going through Coach Bohl's mind right now?
Well, you know what? Offensively, they need to get into some rhythm. They need to start running some plays. They need to just be patient and take those 4- and 5-yard gains. Defensively, they've been winning. But UNI had one big pass play. The kid made a heck of a play, and that's gotten them the 2nd field goal.
Marcus Williams going side to side, and he's wrapped up by a host of Panthers at the 12-yard line. And so far, excellent kick coverage for the UNI Panthers. 6-0 on the Egg Country Farm Credit Services scoreboard. The Bison will have it at their own 12 when we come back.
Empty right, 6 shot. Omaha, Z Omaha.
Right powers this.
Why stick Denver?
Let's face it.
Football, it's complicated.
This stuff isn't easy.
Take him and load up the Sam linebacker.
We're going to bring him on a crosser.
We need to consume the will in something we call a close corner.
The outside backer's got to reroute the between the seam.
Going to double the 3 technique.
Snap it off for 5 yards.
Where he's running the up and over.
From the pregame show to the final drive.
BTN has got you covered.
NDSU getting set to take their 3rd possession of the ball game at the 13-yard line. Trailing 6-0 here at home against the Panthers. O'Jury gets the call. Looking for some room outside. He does find some. Picks up about 6 yards on first down up to the 18.
Seen a little bit of movement out of that. They rolled their safety down. They rolled him down to the wrong side, so the Bison were correct running the outside zone to the short side of the field, per se. UNI comes, rallies to the football pretty decent. I wouldn't be surprised here eventually if the Bison start going with the 2-back look. We've seen a lot of 1-back formations, which is more of a spread, passing, outside zone type look. This is, I think, more traditional, where I think the Bison got to start playing physical and get into that rhythm that I talked about with Coach Hull.
Ryan Smith motions to the high side of the field. Jensen will pass here on 2nd down. And it is complete. Zach Fra makes the catch, tiptoeing the sidelines, out of bounds at the 29. Good enough for an NDSU first down.
Shows you how much I know. They get into a running formation and play action pass. Great throw, great catch. Great route.
And Fra working on the true freshman, Jamison Whiting. Whiting off to a very good start this season, but again, the freshman from Minneapolis Washburn is probably going to be tested a little bit here as NDSU goes 2 tight ends in this formation on 1st and 10. O'Jury stacked up at the line as Andrew Grothman looked like he might have got injured a little bit as he tried to make the block on Farley. Colin Albrecht also in on that stop, loss of 1.
Heavy penetration there. The kick out block by Andrew. Looks like he may have tweaked his shoulder a little bit.
And from a 2 tight end look to a 4 wide out look, single setback is O'Jury here on 2nd and 11. Jensen again across the middle, just off the hands of Zach Fraud. A reach back across the middle as Farley was there on the coverage for UNI. Kodak Mutual Insurance replay.
Seeing that twisting again on the inside. They're really playing games with those inside guard and centers. Excuse me, guards and 1 center.
So 3rd and long again for NDSU, and they've been in this situation a couple of times already here early in the ball game.
Heavy screen down for North Dakota State.
Comes UNI with extra pressure. Ryan Smith went up high as Jensen tried to find him right at midfield, and this one just off the tips of his hands and incomplete. The Bison will have to punt again.
Bison offensive line did a great job right there picking up the protection. Ball just sailed just a little bit on him. Obviously, Ryan's not the tallest of receivers out there, but it was a pretty close miss.
So the UNI defense has yet to allow NDSU to really get into any sort of rhythm. As the top boots this one away, there was a flag right as the ball was snapped. This one will bounce out of bounds at about the 24-yard line. We'll see what the flag is all about.
Typically, you're going to see in this formation that you're not going to have enough men on the line of scrimmage when that flag came out. Offsides on UNI.
Offside, defense, number 74. 5-yard penalty, remains 4th down.
So NDSU, instead of having UNI take over at their own 24, will re-punt. Charles Brown was the one that was called offsides on Northern Iowa, so that will bring the ball up to about the 33. The boot to it. Nice high punt. Carnes back inside at the 15. Took it, and he was smacked by Brian Shepard at the 10-yard line. Big hit.
Finally, something positive for the Bison special teams. To this point, there's been a lot of issues right now. They clean that up, hopefully, and from here on forward, and kind of maybe electrified this Fargo Dome crowd into getting this defense back out there and try to get field position flipped. If you can see, this is the first time that UNI's inside their own 20. The Bison have been consistently in poor field position.
So Carnes now at quarterback. Sire Colmorgan, the regular quarterback, split out to the right. So this is a wildcat look, and Carnes will run it. He will keep it, and he's taken down. Loss of 1 back at the 13. Levon Perry in on that stop. Grant Olson also swallowing things up, along with a host of other Bison, including Travis Beck. Chris Kleiman said he thought Levon Perry played his best game of the season last week. Thought he was dominant on the defensive line against the Jacks back in Brookings. Second and long as the crowd comes to life. 2:20 to go here in the first quarter. The give to Johnson, and David Johnson has a little bit of room. Squeaks through a hole up to the 20-yard line. Picks up about 6. Will bring up 3rd and 4.
This is a key play for the Bison defense right now. If they can get a 3-and-out right here and then make UNI punt, they're going to get field position for the first time offensively.
Three receivers to the high side. Johnson again, the single setback. Colmorgan changing the play. 2 on the play clock. 1. They didn't get it off. A delay of game coming up here on Northern Iowa.
Charge timeout, Northern Iowa. That is their first. It will run 30 seconds.
The timeout came before the flag on the delay of game. So instead of a 3rd and 11, it'll remain 3rd and 5. And the crowd noise there, Kevin, looked like it might have bothered the Northern Iowa offense just a little bit.
You know, it came out of the gate. The right tackle was unaware of what was going on. He had a little conversation with the quarterback, and that set things back right there. But if you think Bison crowd here thinks that they had a say in that, it's going to explode here on this 3rd and 5.
I had a chance to chat with Chris Kleiman, the defensive coordinator at NDSU. Of course, he spent a number of years on the staff at UNI, actually played for Northern Iowa, and he said, you know, I really don't look forward to this game at all. A lot of my friends on the offensive side are still there. He goes, I know them, I know what they like to do, but they also know what I like to do, so it's going to be a chess match all day. It was kind of neat, though, seeing even Chris's kids go over and hug some of the offensive assistants from Northern Iowa today. His family still lives in Cedar Falls. And although they have UNI roots, they still come up here on Saturdays to cheer on North Dakota State. There's a look at Kleiman in his 2nd year as defensive coordinator. 3rd year on the staff here for the Bison. So here we go. 3rd and 5 at the 19. And a flag comes out.
Delay of game, offense.
And I believe a delay of game.
5-yard penalty remains. 3rd down.
Or do they call another timeout? Or you can't do that, can you, Kevin?
I did not think so, but it looks like they're...
Well, now they're down to 15 on the play clock, and they have pulled over the offense to the side, and they're going to get another delay of game. Oh, now they reset the play clock. So it was a delay of game was called. And I think Northern Iowa's coaching staff was under the impression they'd call the timeout.
Yeah.
So a delay of game will bring up 3rd and 10 for Northern Iowa. Now backed up to their own 14. Johnson in motion. Quick drop for Colmorgan across the middle and complete to Owens. A flag comes in back at the 5. Owens is short of a first down by about 4 yards.
Holding, number 66 on the offense. Penalty is declined. 4th down.
So NDSU will decline the penalty. We'll bring up 4th down for Northern Iowa. Nodak Mutual Insurance replay. If you can take a look at this one, Kev.
Good pressure there right by Kyle Manuel. Left tackle got his hand underneath the shoulder pad. It's a pretty easy call for that white hat to make that call each and every time. You get that hand placement right where he got it on Kyle.
Jack Rummels with that penalty. This one's booted away. Bounces at about the 42. Dudzik will bounce away and now fall on it at about the 36, and that's where NDSU will take over with 1:08 to go here in the first quarter in the best field position that the Bison have seen so far today.
And you know what? Some things that go unnoticed because they don't show up in the stat category, but twice in a row now I thought Christian Dudzik has done a great job on those punt returns. Number one, there was a punt earlier that was a low-line drive that a lot of punt returners don't go after. He made the catch, kept it at about the 19-20 yard line right there. Did not have a chance to field that ball cleanly, but he maybe even just saved him about 6 yards on that turf with that ball rolling.
And Logan Beegler, the punter, a sophomore from Altoona, Iowa, has been hot and cold so far this season. And so far, we have not seen a lot of clean-looking punts from Beegler. And Northern Iowa leading 6-0. Jensen, quick drop. Middle screen to Jury, read well by Xavier Williams right there. Takes him down for a loss of 1 at the 35.
You can see right there, they put us by. They brought DeAndre Hall off the edge, trying to bring pressure. Number 91 right there, but number 1 showing up with the nose guard. He's almost spying, and you almost wonder if they were expecting the F screen or if they were expecting a spy on Brock Jensen and seeing if he was going to get into the run game as the downfield routes were taking time.
Williams alone has really done a good job so far here in the first quarter of plugging things up in the middle. John Crockett gets the carry, and Crockett, a slight crease, slips through, picks up 5 up to the 40. And 3rd and 6 coming up for NDSU.
You've seen a lot of motion by Coach Vigen. I think he's trying to get them to line up into different looks in the secondary and trying to get them to roll into different things. I think they want some predetermined rolls where they're going to try and roll weak or roll strong with that strong safety. But I think Coach Vigen's trying to dictate that by the formation and the rotation of the motions.
And the Bison will not get this snap off before the first quarter comes to an end. And we come back, NDSU will have a 3rd and 6 at their own 40-yard line, trailing 6-0 on the Ag Country Farm Credit Services scoreboard. Second quarter from the Fargo Dome after this. Today's game is brought to you in high definition by the North Dakota corn growers who invite you to try the new E15, America's most tested fuel, trusted by NASCAR for 4 million miles. More at ndcorn.org. 3rd and 6 coming up for NDSU as we start the second quarter from the Fargo Dome. UNI leading this one 6-0. Jensen drops. Here comes the pressure from Farley. Jensen got out of it, keeps the play alive, rolls right, and fires, and this one almost intercepted by the big nose tackle. Xavier Williams got his hands up, and NDSU will once again have to punt it away. The Bison offense 52 yards in that first half, Kevin. They did control the clock, had the ball almost 10 minutes, but not able to generate much offensively.
And you know what? It seems like right now the Bison offensive line is struggling a little bit. We had a free blitzer coming up there. They only brought 4 right there, and so that's where we're getting at. They're spying, they're trying to do some different things with the nose guard. You can see that's why he's getting out in some pass coverage. It's not necessarily like they're dropping him, but he's spying, I think, that F screen and the quarterback run game.
The Cops will boot it away again to Carnes, who will let it bounce and then take it at the 15. That's where UNI will have it. leading this one 6-0. And so far, defense, Kevin, has been the name of the game for both teams.
And you know what? I think that's where, you know, the Bison's strength is always going to be down their defense. I think right now Northern Iowa's defense is playing extremely well, but I think a lot of that has to do with some of the self-inflicted penalties that the Bison offense is creating for themselves, and which is creating long field positions for the Bison offense.
Beth Houle, one of our sideline reporters, is on the UNI sideline, has a report for us.
Hey guys, that's right. I was listening in as the offensive linemen were asking if they could get some signals and some hand signals implemented into the offense so that they could better understand the play calls.
The give will go to Johnson, and Johnson squeaks through a hole, and now David Johnson into the clear. Big run for Johnson. He's off to the races down the sidelines, and David Johnson is going to take it 85 yards for a Northern Iowa touchdown.
You can see the explosiveness that Johnson has. Right here, you can see it's just an outside zone play. Bison look like they have it defended pretty well. Colton Hegel there just misses the tackle. And right there, that's a nice stiff arm, and Johnson just getting out in front. Shows great speed.
Saw that 4.5 speed, the junior from Clinton, Iowa. Had not done much in that first quarter, and boom, just like that, first offensive play for Northern Iowa, and Johnson is gone for 85 yards. Sievertson adds the extra point, and Northern Iowa smelling upset here in Fargo. 13-0, they lead on the Ag Country Farm Credit Services scoreboard. Gene Taylor, athletic director at North Dakota State, looking a little anxious here with the Bison trailing 13-0 here in the second quarter. Interesting statistic for Northern Iowa. They have yet to trail at any point this season, and they've built a 13-0 lead here on NDSU as Marcus Williams takes it at the 5. Williams to the 15, to the 20. Tries to spin out a couple of tackles, but again, good coverage by Northern Iowa as Williams is wrapped up at the 22, but there is a late flag coming in as A.J. Van Voorhis goes flying, and I think they're going to get Blake White on a late hit.
That is a huge penalty. That's a discipline issue right there. You cannot have that type of thing happening. If you're UNI, you've had great kickoff coverage each and every time that they've had it.
After the play, dead ball, personal foul. Number 26 on the return team. Half the distance to the goal.
And
I think he's got it mistaken.
Yeah, I think he's got the wrong team.
They hit number 26 on the kicking team. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. Automatic first down.
Mark Farley does not like that call. A.J. Van Voorhis has drawn a few of those over the years, including a big one against Georgia Southern, and he got the Kevin Feeney Award for Best Performance after a whistle last year for that, well, I don't want to call it a flop, but he embellished it a little bit. It was a huge penalty in the game and led to a touchdown for NDSU.
You know, every now and then there's individuals who can just get underneath your skin enough where that they're going to try and take a swing at you. He's a heady young man that seems to find himself in a lot of those type of situations. Got an imbalanced line here for the first time against UNI.
And Ojiri up the middle, not much, maybe a yard, if that. And NDSU has really not had much going offensively here. That big run by Crockett a couple of drives ago in that first quarter, but other than that, not much. So 2nd and 9 coming up. We tick under 14 minutes to go here in the second quarter. Jensen will throw, quick drop, fires, and complete to Ryan Smith. And Smith hauls it in, picks up about 5 yards. Up to the 43, will bring up 3rd and about 4.
Just a little speed out right here. The corner jumps it. He tries to make a play, and it feels like he just missed it right there. In cover two, he's only a flat defender, which means he should have had pretty good position on that to make a play on that ball.
Again, that's the true freshman Whiting from Minneapolis Washburn High School. So another big third down, and NDSU has not been very good on third down here today. 0 of 4. Coming in about 63% conversion rate on third down. Jensen will keep it on a QB keeper, and yes, he finds some room, and it's going to be close, but I think he has enough up to the 48.
A little bit different personnel grouping in there. Instead of the one back, whether it's Lang or Jury or Crockett, right now they've got Andrew Grothman in there, which means it's going to be a run play for the Bison. See Andrew right there just getting enough of two different individuals, and Brock's got always a great shoulder pad lean that's going to fall forward to pick up that extra yard and a half that he needed right there.
Tim Kelfoy came up and made the stop from his free safety position. Jensen, a couple of important scrambles last week at South Dakota State, picked up some big first downs. This will go to a Jury. Stutter steps through the middle and spins out of a couple of tackles, picks up 7 up to the 45 of UNI. First time that the Bison have been inside Northern Iowa territory.
And that's something in the last few seasons I think you've seen Sam do such a better job. As a young player, he tried to bounce this. Right here, he just keeps his pads and his shoulders and hips square. He's able to always kind of spin off that kind of stuff and pick up those 3 to 4 extra yards. Second and medium's a great play calling time for Coach Vegan.
2nd and 3. Taylor Nelson is the tight end coming across in motion there. Jensen, another quick drop in the flat. Zach Fra has another catch, his 2nd of the afternoon. Inside the 40 to the 39, good enough for another NDSU first down, and now they got a little something cooking here on this drive.
And you know what, I think it comes down to Coach Vegan feels like he's getting a little bit comfortable. They talked about the quick game and trying to get him into different coverages other than just that press coverage 2 right there. And you're seeing if they can get him into that cover 3 look or those man looks where they're going to have those softer corners, the Bison wide receivers feel like they can get those 5 to 6, 7-yard football gains and maybe miss the tackle against one of those freshman corners or young, inexperienced defensive backs and turn them into a big play.
1st and 10 as the play clock ticks within 5. And Jensen gets it off, will drop again. Plenty of time across the middle, high, and that one tipped by Jordan Gakey as that pass was behind the intended target, Andrew Grothman, at the 35.
I think Brock would like to have that one back. He had some guys open right there, and if he just gets that ball out in front of Andrew has great hands, shown that he can catch the football and do something with the football once he gets it into his hands.
Grothman, of course, scoring his first career touchdown a couple of weeks ago on a reception, a 4-yard touchdown pass from Jensen. 2nd and 10 coming up from the UNI 39. I formation. Gebhardt motions to the bottom part of your screen, and the give will go to O'Jury, and Sam O'Jury stacked up. Jordan Gakey and Sam Tim, linebackers, both come in and take him down for a 3-yard loss. Will bring up 3rd and long. Gakey, a senior from Rock Rapids, Iowa. 2nd leading tackler on this UNI squad, and a guy that Coach Farley says we put him in a lot of positions to make plays, and he has made those plays so far this season. So 3rd and long coming up. Jensen will step up in the pocket and take off with it. And hit hard by Farley at about the 37-yard line. Pick up a 5, but well short of a first down. So now NDSU will likely punt this one away as they're not quite within Adam Keller field goal range. They'll be looking at close to a 53, 54-yarder from here.
And you know what, to this point, they've had such poor field position. I think this is the correct play by Coach Bowl and trying to pin them deep right here and make UNI either get a 3-and-out and get great field position or at least make them drive the field.
So Ben LeCompte on to punt again. Lays this one up very high. Duds it back. It bounces at the 2 and down by Colton Hegel. Well done by Ben LeCompte in the Bison special teams unit. And UNI will be backed up to their own goal line when we come back. 13-0 Panthers on the Ag Country Farm Credit Services scoreboard. UNI backed up to their own 3, but they have a 13-0 lead here at the Fargo Dome. Sawyer Colmorgan in the shotgun. Will throw this one away as he saw nothing out there in the flat that he liked. And the Bison pressure bearing down on him. They bring up 2nd and 10.
It's a tough situation, obviously, for UNI right now that they're trying to move the pocket so that they don't have a sitting target. Obviously, once you're outside the pocket in college football, you can just throw this football away without getting intentional grounding, which if he was inside the pocket would be a safety.
Cole Morgan behind center this time in an I formation. Johnson is the tailback. And the give goes to Johnson and taken down for no gain at the 3. Will bring up 3rd and long.
Fantastic play by Danny Lukey right there. He got blocked very, very forcefully, bounced off that block, came up and was able to get in on the tackle. You can see shots right there, also doing a great job from his defensive nose guard position.
So we'll see what UNI decides to do here on 3rd and 10. Backed up, deep in their own territory. 4-receiver set, Johnson the tailback. Cole Morgan again in the shotgun. Will throw. Jurek had a beat on him, throwing to Vereen, and he's got it. Excuse me, that's Isaac Lintz, and Lintz has it. I think he's going to be just shy of a first down, but very close.
Ooh, he got a great spot.
Tremendous spot. That actually, I think he does have enough now after where they gave him the spot of that ball as Jurek came flying in, and Cole Morgan was able to find Lintz right on the sidelines, and oof. Ooh. Take another look on the Nodak Mutual Insurance replay.
They have it marked just past the 13-yard line. Looks right there. It was just on the other side of the 13-yard line, which I think would have been short, like you said, man.
Break for Northern Iowa. They got a first down now at the 13. Johnson splits out. Cole Morgan down the sidelines, and Vereen almost made another acrobatic catch, but he was out of bounds.
Same play that you saw earlier in the football game where he did make the catch, where he kept his feet in bounds.
We see so many teams, Kevin, throw away from Marcus Williams, and so far Northern Iowa is going right at him.
He's in man coverage. Obviously, he's hip to hip. He's got his hands on him. He can feel him. That's a great throw once again. And it's an easy read for the quarterback because right now, every time they're motioning Johnson outside, you can see that the Bison are going with him, which obviously means man coverage, which tells that quarterback he's been told, attack it then.
And again, the give goes to the backup tailback, Tivis Smith, the redshirt freshman. Picks up maybe 2 up to the 15.
You know, I'm surprised we haven't seen the first couple possessions. UNI was running that little outside zone play where the quarterback had the option to throw that hitch route. And they've kind of gone away from that. And I thought that was, even though they had the one errant throw on it, it was there. And they made a play earlier on it, picked up about 8 or 9 yards on first down. And it was there the second time. The quarterback just did not make a very accurate throw.
So 3rd and long for Cole Morgan again. And again he throws. Pressure comes, he's flushed out. Cole Morgan fires, and this one is almost picked off by Marcus Williams. He almost had his 21st career interception, but just out of his hands and incomplete.
Bison brought field pressure right there. Colton Hegel was the one who was coming off at the edge from the outside. UNI dodged a bullet right there. I think the quarterback right there was trying to make something happen that wasn't there. That's one of those where the UNI coaching staff's going to say, hey, take what's there. Do not give this Bison defense a chance to let this crowd explode and have that offense come out and turn this football game around.
Another low line drive will drive back Dudzik to his own 35, and he gets upfield, steps around one tackle and gets it up to about the 45, and that's where NDSU will have it. Again, pretty good field position for the Bison.
Last 2 possessions, that's been huge for North Dakota State. And once again, talking about Christian Dudzik, he's just such a good athlete. Not knowing that back in high school, he was a kid who rushed for over 1,000 yards as a quarterback, threw for over 1,000 yards as a quarterback, was recruited by other teams in the Valley to play wide receiver. Liked what he had to saw at North Dakota State, felt like he could be successful, and all he's done, I believe, is play in the 34 straight football games. And for a safety and the type of physical play that he has, that is outstanding. Number 1, that he's been able to do it physically and mentally.
And Dudzik, of course, his first year was actually a corner and then moved to safety his sophomore season. John Crockett, and John Crockett, big hole on the right side. And Crockett picks up about 6 inside UNI territory again to the 48. You almost get the feeling, Kevin, this Bison offense just needs to get something on the board here before halftime.
And it's got to go through that running backs. Those are the type of guys that can make those explosive plays. Not like they can in the passing game, but it's something that they take pride in, that it has to start up front. I guarantee you Coach Fuchs right now is in that offensive line's ear right now about getting a better pad level and getting out and getting a better push up front.
Ticking close to 7 minutes here in the second quarter, 2nd and 4. Again, power play up to Crockett, and he lunges ahead, drives the legs for 5 more, picks up a first down at the 43. And John Crockett has really been a guy that has been a little bit of a spark here, Kevin, if there is one offensively in this first half.
Just his personality. Look at the way he carries himself. When he gets up, when he gets tackled, it looks like he's ready to run another 50 yards. And that's the type of emotional lift that this Bison offense might need.
Crockett 7 carries, 43 yards here in the first half. And they'll go to him again. Picked up a couple of nice blocks, and John Crockett into the clear, showing off his speed. Nice job blocking at the point of attack there by that Bison offensive line, and he picks up another first down inside the 30 down to the 28.
The key to stopping any type of inside-outside zone play is not creating levels. And you can see right here, the defensive line got such a push up field that it creates seams. And anytime it creates seams, it allows those inside interior linemen to get up to the linebackers, and that defensive line is on different levels, and it creates big running lanes for those Bison running backs.
1st and 10. Again to Crockett. Spins out another tackle, and John Crockett again falls forward for 5 more yards to the 23. And this drive has been all John Crockett here so far. D'Orleans on the tackle there for UNI.
This is the rhythm that we're talking about. You're starting to see what happens when guys start getting a little bit of a push. And we talked about the lift, but right now it's kind of like that heavyweight fighter saying, you know what, we've taken some jabs. Now it's time to come out swinging here a little bit.
Jensen will throw here on 2nd and 5. And wide open receiver was Zach Vraw. Could not make the catch. Would have been enough for a first down, but there was no one within 10 yards of Zach Vraw.
You know what? You could tell right there that Brock Jensen was checking at the line of scrimmage, had the exact play call that he wanted. Right now, you're just getting a little hitch route and an inside flag route. It's a 7 route right there, and he just needs to come up and make the pitch and catch.
3rd and 5 coming up. Jensen has run a lot out of this set so far this season. We'll see if he does it here. A little bit of pressure from UNI, and Jensen is going deep, and it is caught. Kerry Woods, we think, has the touchdown. Yes, he does. The freshman from Bemidji scored his first career touchdown at NDSU. What a catch by the redshirt freshman.
Wow, it looked like just when it let off his hands, it looked like it was just slightly going to be overthrown from our angle. Right now, that's Kerry Woods. That's the type of threat that they felt like Kerry Woods could bring to this table, and they need to find somebody that can stretch the field and make big plays just like that.
23-yard pitch and catch from Jensen to Kerry Woods. Keller adds the extra point, and the Bison are on the board, trailing 13-7 on the Egg Country Farm Credit Services scoreboard. Stay tuned, folks. We got a top 5 battle in the FCS on our hand right here. Let's take a look at the Bobcat game recap. Bison making mistakes, 1 for 6 on 3rd down, but find themselves only down by 6 despite all that. Ben LeCompte's getting set to boot away another Peterson Farm Seed kickoff. Kick off your planning season with Peterson Farm Seed. 13-7 on the Ag Country Farm Credit Services scoreboard as LeCompte boots it away. Will be taken by Carnes at his own 4. Carnes spun out of a couple of tackles, but Bo Likas and Brian Shepard finished him off at the 16. And one Northern Iowa Panther is clutching his knee at the 21. And now he will try to hobble off. That is Max Busher. Barnes, a guy with a lot of ability, Kevin, but so far in special teams, the Bison have really found a way to keep him in check.
You know what? They've done a nice job in all facets of his game, whether it's in special teams or the one time that he did line up at quarterback. He looked very uncertain, and I'd be surprised almost if they went back to him in that Wildcat-type formation.
So UNI will fire to Owens. Owens cuts it back up inside. Picks up maybe 3 up to the 19.
Both the Bison coaching staff and the crowd, for that matter, over here is trying to get a holding call right there at the point of attack. Little bubble screen right there. Anytime that happens on the sideline, you're going to hear a lot of chirping from the sideline as far as a holding call.
Nodak Mutual Insurance replay. 13-7. UNI leading. Second and 8.
Same shift that they did earlier right here.
Here comes a free blitzer. Cole Morgan hits. Got rid of it. And found Owens. Enough for a first down at the 28. But Cole Morgan really took a shot there.
He did, but he hung onto the football just long enough. And I wouldn't be surprised if you're going to see a lot more of this out of UNI. Bison are certainly going to have their free blitzer on that. When you're in empty, if they bring 5-6, you're not going to have anybody else to protect that. But on the same token right there, UNI had a couple receivers that were wide open on that play.
And Cole Morgan, a guy that Chris Kleiman has a lot of respect for, said he's a guy that is very good at finding those hot routes. Play action. Cole Morgan again fires behind the intended target. David Johnson incomplete. Will bring up 2nd and 10. And talking to Chris Kleiman about Cole Morgan, you know, he's a guy that played at a big school in Oklahoma, 6A football, went to 3 title games, did not win one. But again, a guy that just doesn't seem like this game in this environment is too big for him. He's used to playing in front of thousands and thousands of people. He's been doing it since he's been a sophomore in high school.
You know what? His composure so far, that what you've seen in the Fargo Dome, is that of a championship type team. He is the leader on this offense. It's kind of neat right there. Coach Kleiman, Johnson was on the sideline right there. Coach Kleiman kind of gave him a little bit of a pickup and patted him on the back. Like we talked about in the pregame, he's the last probably guy that they brought into this program that Coach Kleiman had a big part of.
And Johnson gets the carry there. And something interesting I found out about Johnson, he's actually a triplet. He's got 2 twin sisters. Not something you see every day.
I didn't know he had twin sisters. I was going to ask you where the other 2 are. 'Cause I tell you what, when we saw him make that big long run, and you're talking about a 4.5 speed from a 6'3", 210+ pound running back, that's impressive.
Johnson, 6 carries, 96 yards. Of course, 85 of those on 1 run. Cole Morgan again under pressure. Got rid of it. Almost intercepted by Christian Dudzik. And had he picked that one off, there was nothing in front of him but a whole lot of green. And Dudzik is going to be kicking himself over that one. Good pressure there by the Bison front 4.
Little bit of a delayed pressure look by North Dakota State right there. They brought some edge pressure right away, but then they almost had a delayed blitz depending on how many guys were going to go out on the route. Completely confused the UNI offense right there.
So again, this one booted away, and Dudzik at his own 25. Will get what he can upfield to the 32, and NDSU will have the ball again with 3:13 to go here in the first half, with a chance to get more points before heading into the locker room. Oh, you can tell Dudzik, that's still bugging him. That had pick 6 written all over it, Kev.
Yeah, and you know what? That's, you know, hopefully for the Bison that they're able to turn this stuff around and make sure that they get on the winning end of this football game, because then it'll become a joke in the film room instead of hey, we let one slip by. But certainly Christian Dudzik's made big plays throughout his entire career here, and yeah, he'd love to have that one back, but hopefully he gets another opportunity.
Might notice this game in high definition. Today's game is brought to you in high definition by the North Dakota Corn Growers, who invite you to try the new E15, America's most tested fuel, trusted by NASCAR for over 4 million miles. More at ndcorn.org. Bison have it 1st and 10 at the 31. To give to O'Jury. Not much room. Maybe lost to. Back up to the 29. We'll bring up 2nd and long. Again, Xavier Williams. The big nose guard in this 3-4 scheme has really done a good job so far here in the middle, Kevin.
And you know what? I think the Bison coaching staff knew they had a solid defensive line, but I think a lot of that might have to do with some of the interior changes that the Bison offensive line have had to endure.
Jensen will throw. Pressure, and Jensen did not see it, and Albrecht has his second sack of the game and his 7th of the season.
UNI defense, they're confused, Brock. You had a great pass protection block, which is exciting to see out of Samuel Drury. Watch him come off the edge here and pick up the inside blitzer, that's who he's responsible for. He's not responsible for the second guy outside. They have him unblocked, which means there needs to be an uncovered or a hot route receiver that needs to be aware of that and make sure he adjusts that route so Brock can get rid of the football.
And we should mention, too, Kevin, Northern Iowa last season only had 11 sacks in 11 games. Coming into this game, they had 16 in 4 games.
And it started against Iowa State, and I think that was the big thing early on in that game, that Iowa State was stunned at how well UNI defended the pass.
And Sam O'Jury on 3rd and long picks up 15 yards on that draw play for a first down. I think Brent Vegan might have caught that UNI defense napping a little bit on the run.
And you know what? You're thinking it's a minute 43 left. Bison still have 3 timeouts. They have plenty of time to get in and out of the huddle. Clock stops in college football on first downs. You have time to communicate.
So NDSU a fresh set of downs at the 42. Read option, Jensen keeps up the middle, and Brock Jensen finds much more room and stood up and driven back by Kilfoy at the 43. Enough for a first down. Clock stops again as the chains reset. Nodak Mutual Insurance replay. Kevin, what do you like?
You know what? I like the little zone read. You got Langer in the backfield right there. Probably not a heavy ball carrier, but they don't know that by position. Bison might have got away with a hold on the inside also.
Jensen. Flushed out. Fires in the flat. Looking for Kevin Vodlin, his tight end. That pass behind him and incomplete will stop the clock with 1:04 to go here in the first half. Let's get a look right there at Makinton Dorleant, a transfer from Naples, Florida, played at Maryland, played in all 12 games for the Terps last season before coming over to UNI. Again, just a sophomore. The secondary very young. 2 sophomores and a true freshman in the starting secondary here for Northern Iowa. So the future pretty bright for that group. Jensen, time in the pocket, fires. Derek Lang makes the catch, driven out of bounds by Dorleant at the 38. Picks up about 5 yards and will bring up, well, maybe 6 yards.
UNI just dropping back in coverage. You can see right now Travis Lang right there, or excuse me, Derek Lang has an opportunity to pick up any blitzers. There was nothing there, so he gets to get out into the flat. Smart football player getting out of bounds, saving a Bison timeout if need be.
And Brent Vegan said he really looking at this Northern Iowa secondary on tape. They like to keep everything in front of them. So a team that is going to give up a little bit of cushion in front, then come up and stick it. Jensen fires across the middle. Cut comp on the coverage as Eric Perkins was the intended target.
One of the few times that you're going to see UNI bring 5 guys. They brought the inside linebackers. They twisted right there. They got the man coverage that they wanted.
So that will bring up a punting situation on 4th and 4.
You know, there's some little things that are coming in here. I've just seen twice in a row now. Samuel Drury great on pass protection in that situation right there also.
And UNI has no one back to receive the punt. So they're playing this one straight up. Cops will boot this one towards the sideline and knocked out of bounds around the 5-yard line. So that's where UNI will have it at about their own 7. And I'm guessing they won't try anything too extravagant here, backed up with 47 seconds to go in half.
They're not gonna, but on the same token, Bison defense could get them in a 4th and long situation or 4th and, you know, whatever. They can't just run out the clock because of the 3 timeouts that the Bison have. So Bison could keep using those timeouts and force UNI to punt from in their own end zone. So they do have to try and get some sort of movement. They cannot just down the football.
We'll see what the Panthers do here, backed up. Pistol formation. Johnson will get, well, Cole Morgan kept it. Even faked me out and took a big shot from Colton Heagle. And then also, do we see a flag fly in? I don't think so. Cole Morgan slid down at about the 14. The clock will continue to run.
Smart football play though by that quarterback by staying in bounds, because right there he could have easily just went out of bounds and saved his body, but instead he, knowing that the Bison still had 3 timeouts, stayed in bounds. And right now the Bison defense isn't going to use their timeouts. Expect UNI to just run some sort of little inside zone play right here and end the half.
And Cole Jurek not fooled that time as he takes down Cole Morgan for no gain. And that will likely end the first half with UNI leading this one 13-7 at the Fargo Dome. Jamal Spencer will catch a word with Craig Bohl as he heads into the locker room. I'm guessing Coach Bohl is hoping for a little bit cleaner of a second half. And Jamal does have Coach Craig Bohl.
UNI's defense on third down is giving your team some problems.
Well, you know what? They're pressuring us pretty good. We got to do a better job protecting Brock, and you know, some of the downfield routes you got to do a better job with. You know, the other thing we got to do is get us out of third down and long. We need a lot more. We're not made for third down and long. We need third down and shorts, and so we got to shore some things up in the second half.
Because of that shuffle along the offensive line, did you expect some early bumps from that group?
Yeah, we did. You know, we've got some younger guys that are playing, and they're doing the best they can. Now, we can play cleaner. Certainly the jumps and some of the sacks we've given up, we've got to straighten around.
All right, thanks a lot, Coach. Back up to you guys.
All right, thank you very much, Jamal. And before we go to break, how about North Dakota Soybean Council Trivia? Soybeans were a key ingredient in creating what new flooring surface at NDSU? We should be able to figure that one out. We'll be back with the answer after this break, and stay tuned for the PetroServe USA, or excuse me, not the PetroServe USA pregame show, the Proceed halftime report. We're halftime already here at the Fargo Dome. UNI and NDSU, Panthers lead 13-7. Welcome back to the Fargo Dome. Kevin Feeney and Brian Shawn. Beth Houle is on the sidelines at Northern Iowa. She had a chance to catch up with head coach Mark Farley just a moment ago.
Thanks, Brian. Coach, you guys come out of half with a 13-7 lead. What's that message in the locker room as you look to extend it?
The message is that it's going to be a bigger half than the first half, and we're going to play some tough football right now. This is going to get tough right now.
How crucial was it to get that lead off the bat?
It was crucial. We want to play this game like UNI. That means we got to come out and be tougher in the second half than we were in the first.
Thanks so much, Coach. Back to you, Brian.
All right, thank you very much, Beth. And Coach Farley a little fired up there on the sidelines with his team leading by 6. We can take a look at maybe some of those first half highlights where UNI built that 13-0 lead, and it started with this fumbled kickoff on the opening kickoff by Marcus Williams.
Looked like there was going to be something there. Obviously, the helmet and the hand right on the ball. Bison defense coming up big, though, and holding them to 3 points.
Special teams for NDSU has also been very good. Breon Carnes has not done much on special teams, but David Johnson, quiet all game long until he busts this 85-yard run. And Kevin, you saw his strength and his speed on this one.
You know, he's got some length. He was able to get that stiff arm into Grant Olson and keep his body away. 85 yards, basically out of the 113 that they have rushing right there.
And NDSU, late in the second quarter, answers. The redshirt freshman Kerry Woods has his first career touchdown catch.
Huge catch, huge momentum shift in this football game. Makes it a 1-score game for the Bison.
Here are your first half stats, and our halftime stats brought to you by the North Dakota Certified Seed Producers. And pretty even across the board, Kevin, but those turnovers, that first turnover really was critical for UNI to get off to a good start.
Turnover was huge, and along with the time of possession, it's a little bit skewed there when UNI only has 10.5+ minutes of time of possession, but that's an 85-yard run. One thing that I think was notable that you kind of pointed at is Coach Bohl talks about third and long. Bison have been tackled or stopped for loss 6 times in the first half, which is very, very uncharacteristic of this Bison offense. They need to stay out of those situations and make positive plays.
Those first half stats brought to you by your North Dakota Certified Seed Producers. Getting set to kick off the second half, Ben LeCompte, as we look at the 2 sacks and 6 stops for loss. Compared to NDSU, just 1 stop for loss, and of course the 1 turnover from Marcus Williams.
Let's not forget how close the Bison offense was twice to getting interceptions. Once Marcus Williams, and then the second one that could have really flipped this game around at Christian Dudzik to come up with that interception and a possible return for a touchdown.
Another Peterson Farm Seed kickoff comes to Breon Carnes, and he caught it in the field of play, so he brings it out, gets back to the 17. Kick off your planning season with Peterson Farm Seed as UNI will take over from their own 17-yard line with a 6-point lead.
You know, I think it would have been interesting sitting in both of those halves. You could see Coach Farley right now talking about how intense that he expects his football team to play in the second half. On the flip side of that, I think you're going to get the North Dakota State coaches that are going to be in there and say, you know what? We gave up probably 2 offensive plays, the one big running play and the one big catch down the sideline that led to 10 of their 13 points. After that, the Bison coaching staff's got to say, we feel pretty good about where we're at defensively. Like I said, clean up some of those penalties offensively, and things need to get into rhythm offensively, and then things will be fine.
2 setbacks in this formation for the Panthers. Johnson splits out wide and say they will go to the backup tailback, and again, that's Smith. Tivis Smith, the redshirt freshman, gets the carry, picks up a yard on first down, and Colton Hegel makes the stop there for NDSU.
Right now, he's an unblocked player. It's a simple inside draw play right there. Colton Hegel does not miss tackles very often, especially in those one-on-one type situations.
Using Johnson as a decoy there as they split him out wide.
Kind of think they were trying to see if they were going to get man coverage out of that, and the Bison stayed in zone coverage. It's first down.
Carnes in at quarterback. Cole Morgan to the bottom of your screen. And Carnes will keep it. And Grant Olson missed initially, but nice job defensively by the Bison collapsing on that play. Travis Beck in on that stop. No gain.
You know, we saw a little bit of that in the first half, and you saw some hesitation there out of the quarterback, and I don't know if I really like the direction they're going in that Wildcat. He looks like he's a little indecisive right there the first time. It looked like he was just going to predetermined pull that, and it seems like he should be an explosive player and make somebody miss, but he has not shown the capabilities, whether it be in the return game or in that Wildcat position, to make somebody miss.
5-receiver set for Northern Iowa on 3rd and 10. Opening possession of the second half for the Panthers. Here comes the rush, and Jurek got to Cole Morgan. Johnson, the intended target. Grant Olson on that coverage. And a 3-and-out to start.
Exactly what the Bison defense needed. We've seen empty formation out of UNI, but we hadn't seen that empty formation out of UNI. They got Johnson lined up against Grant Olson, which you got to think from a UNI perspective that they like that matchup. Grant Olson did a nice job of taking away the inside route. Johnson was looking for pass interference when in actuality, all he did was have good body placement.
2 punt returners in for NDSU, Dudzik and Smith. Dudzik will be the one that will back away as this one bounces out of bounds at the 46. Not a great punt. NDSU will have good field position here to open the second half. Now the question comes, can that UNI defense, which does not go real deep, hold up here in the second half?
You know, I think they only play, what, 4 or 5 on the defensive line, maybe 1 extra linebacker, and they really don't play anybody extra in the secondary. So you're exactly right. It's going to be interesting to see if Coach Vigen had that plan of pounding. You saw a little bit of it at the end of the second half. Now they need to come out and establish that offensive line like they had before.
Jensen comes out in the shotgun. 3 receivers to the bottom side of your screen. And Jensen will keep it. And taken down in the backfield. Nice job by Jordan Gakey. Shooting through the gap and making the tackle for loss. Loss of 3.
Just a little quarterback sweep right here. Sometimes when you don't account, I think right there, Billy Turner is supposed to make sure he steps to that inside gap. He has that inside B gap on outside zone away. And what he did is he let a linebacker cross his face. And somebody with good speed, we talked about him. Coach Farley said they give him a lot of freedom to go make plays. And you can see right there, that's why he's been a successful linebacker so far this season.
So 2nd and long again for the Bison. They were in this position a lot, especially in the first quarter due to some penalties.
Same formation that UNI came out in. And now the Bison are out in an empty formation.
Jensen eludes 1 tackler and then completes the pass to Ryan Smith. And Smith picks up about 12. Will be a yard short of a first down inside UNI territory to the 46.
Nice job eluding the pressure right here. A couple times right now, the corners are getting real close to jumping a lot of things. Almost look for a double move here sometime soon, or some play action, and have Coach Vigen take that shot that we talked about in the pregame.
And Whiting, the guy that had a beat on that pass from Jensen. And the give goes to John Crockett, and Crockett needed 1, picked up 3, and that's good enough for an NDSU first down. Crockett in that first half, 9 carries for 63 yards. Ray Mitchell comes up and makes the stop for UNI. Talked about Mitchell, was actually Special Teams Player of the Year at the University of Kansas in 2010. Again, it's Crockett following that lead block. Picks up 3 to the 40.
Pretty good push up front there by that Bison offensive line.
Again, Xavier Williams in on that stop, and Williams very active from his nose guard position here so far this afternoon.
Don't you love looking at those helmets like that? He's all banged up in the front. It's that matted helmet look that they have nowadays. But I tell you what, that's you got to love that picture when you're a nose guard.
You're bouncing off a lot of heads when you're in the middle of that defensive line. Empty backfield again. 5 receiver set here for the Bison. Jensen will throw again, and this time it's Crockett. And Crockett makes a nice catch and then swung out of bounds by Farley. Crockett picked up about 5 to the 35.
That is an athletic route right here. Zach Crockett, I don't know if you're going to get to see it on the replay, runs a little whip route. You see that a lot of times out of wide receivers. Rarely do you see that route out of running backs. He's going to run like a slant, like he's coming inside, plant his foot, and get back outside. Great man coverage route right there, which they're seeing out of the empty backfield. Bison are getting true man coverage.
Only the second reception for John Crockett. He'll get it on here on 3rd and short. It's going to be close. Right at the yard marker. Needed the 33. That's where the official is marking it off, so we'll just have to see where they spot it. And they're going to go quick. It is short, about a half yard. Jensen. He's going to dive ahead, and he's got it. Noses ahead just past the 33 and picked up the first down. And we've seen NDSU do that numerous times here in 2013.
You know what it does? It doesn't allow that defensive line to get the big package or the big boys in there and get multiple defensive linemen to take away that quarterback sneak. You've seen Peyton Manning make a living on doing this kind of stuff, and Tom Brady, and now it's filtering right down to college football.
You talk about pad level. All the guys from UNI were up much higher than the offensive line from NDSU, and they got the necessary push for a first down. Cooper Wallow in motion. Wallow's going to get the carry, and Cooper Wallow into the open field. Showing off that speed in a couple of moves down to the 20-yard line. 13 yards for a Bison first down.
They go to that unbalanced formation. They got that jet look again. Get a nice block by Billy Turner out on the edge right there. Successful play that you've seen quite often out of the Bison offense throughout this year and in years past.
Whiting on the tackle there might have saved a touchdown for UNI. And finally, the Bison inside the red zone for the first time, and it's the Superior Inc. red zone. John Crockett tripped up at the line of scrimmage, lunges ahead for 1. We'll bring up 2nd and long.
You're kind of starting to see some creases right there. That doesn't look like a very good play. It's only a 1.5-yard gain, but right there you can see there's one hat in the hole right there that's coming up, where earlier on in the game you were seeing a lot of purple helmets in the hole and multiple guys on tackles, and right now you're seeing some solo stuff, which means they're making a nice tackle, but on the same token they have to put a lot of pressure in making that individual tackle out in space.
And Crockett again lined up wide at wide receiver, and Ryan Smith is lined up in the backfield. And Jensen will keep on the fake to Smith, and a hole there early closed up, but Jensen still able to get about 8 yards, maybe a yard short of a first down at the 11.
You know, we saw this look in the first half, and they used Lang as the read guy, probably thinking that UNI is not going to respect him that much in the run game, but you want that personnel package in there. So you get Ryan Smith, who was a former running back in high school, who's certainly capable of taking that ball and making something big happen out of it.
Jensen will keep it again, and this time he is stacked up. He didn't get it. Might have lost a half yard. And Craig Bull will run the field goal unit on. Nice job by Isaac Ailes stepping in to make the stop. So Keller's first field goal attempt will be from 28 yards. Keller Boots it up and boots it through. Keller good from 28. And on the Ag Country Farm Credit Services scoreboard, the Bison trail it 13-10 with just about halfway through the third quarter. Craig Bull wanted a cleaner start to this second half, and he got it. Stopping UNI in a 3-and-out, and then picking up a 28-yard field goal from Adam Keller. And NDSU within 3 as Ben Lecomte gets set to boot off another Peterson Farm Seed kickoff. Kick off your planting season with Peterson Farm Seeds. Carnes from his own 3 to the 15. Carnes bounces outside and runs out of bounds. Best return of the day for UNI at the 29, and that's where they'll start when we come back. 13-10 on the Ag Country Farm Credit Services scoreboard. Today's game at the Fargo Dome brought to you in high definition by the North Dakota Corn Growers, who invite you to try the new E15, America's most tested fuel, trusted by NASCAR for over 4 million miles. More at ndcorn.org. 1st and 10 for UNI at the 29. Play action. Johnson going deep, looking for Vereen. And this was just out of his reach, thrown behind him a little bit, downfield at about the 40. Marcus Williams once again on the coverage, and despite all of Marcus Williams' accolades, UNI still going after him.
You know what? They've obviously seen something on film that they like about it. Right there, it looked like that was supposed to be a back shoulder fade, and the player Vereen there just kind of made a poor adjustment to it on the football. It's actually a pretty well thrown ball for a back shoulder fade.
Nodak Mutual Insurance replay.
Here's that empty backfield that we talked about earlier. Oh, now they're shifting back.
Cole Morgan. And here comes a flag on C.J. Smith as Lintz was held up. See if that's pass interference or a hold.
I think both teams right there are thinking it's on the other guy.
Holding, defense, number 6. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
So a first down on a holding penalty. A 10-yard penalty spots it up at the 39.
Here we go, Bison fans. 1st and 10, UNI.
Trip receivers again to the top of your screen. Johnson gets the carry, and Johnson squeaks through a hole, and David Johnson finds some room about 9 yards up to the Bison 48.
Little inside zone run, same thing that we've been talking about. They've got a two-way option. They can hand the inside zone to Johnson, or they got a little bubble look on the outside. You're going to see the number 3 receiver bubbling outside, keeps the Bison strong safety or alley player to the field side, out of the run game, and then they're running to the tight end surface on the short side.
Just don't realize how big David Johnson is until you see him run through arm tackles like that. Colton Hegel, a pretty good tackler. He ran right through him. Johnson again gets the carry, finds more room. 8 more yards into Bison territory at the 45.
You know, we talked about how good a drive that the Bison had just coming out of that second half. Right now, this is an impressive drive by UNI, and they're showing the type of football team that they are by coming back and making it productive through the run game.
Cole Morgan again. We'll give it to Johnson again. Levon Perry missed a tackle, and again Johnson into the clear as he finds much more room. Another first down, 20 more yards, 21 more yards down to the 24. And David Johnson now well past 100 yards, approaching that 135-yard mark. Nodak Mutual Insurance replay. Cole Morgan will keep it. He took a big shot from Kyle Emanuel. Lost 3 yards back to the 26. And UNI going quick. For all the latest NDSU athletics, remember to visit www.gobison.com. Johnson will now split out to the high side. Empty backfield. Owens in motion. Cole Morgan, time in the pocket across the middle, and Johnson's open. Missed one tackle, and he bounces off tacklers down to the 2-yard line. First down for Northern Iowa. And David Johnson has really been the feature guy so far on this drive.
And you know what I really, really like when the UNI gets to that empty formation? It puts him in a matchup, major matchup problems.
Johnson again, nothing there, stacked up at the line of scrimmage, might have even lost a yard back to the 3.
On that last pass, though, you could see that the UNI offensive line was able to uphold and give him enough time to get through that double move and flip Johnson right down the middle.
And a little bit of a no huddle, quick huddle here for UNI on this drive. Cole Morgan barking out signals, trying to get everybody in place. Cole Morgan will throw the fade towards Marcus Williams, and Vereen, a spectacular catch for a Northern Iowa touchdown. Boy, did he go up and get that football.
Wow, you talk about high point in the football. As a wide receiver, you want to make sure that you go up as high as you possibly can and high point that football. Doesn't give Marcus a chance to get into his body. That's a big time catch.
What a catch by Kevin Vereen. His 3rd reception of the day goes for a touchdown, and UNI has pushed the lead back to 9 with a chance to go to 10 here with the extra point.
And with as much as Johnson had so many big plays in that, he looked gassed and almost knew that they had to do something else, or somebody else was going to have to make a play for them to score a touchdown.
Extra point by Severson is good. And with 4:45 to go in the 3rd quarter on the Ag Country Farm Credit Services scoreboard, NDSU trailing by 10 to UNI here at the Fargo Dome. Greg Bull not too happy with what he's seeing so far here this afternoon. Northern Iowa answers the field goal from NDSU with a touchdown as Sire Cole Morgan fires the fade up to Kevin Vereen, who made a spectacular catch on the All-American Marcus Williams. And this is another Peterson Farm Seed kickoff. Kick off your planning season with Peterson Farm Seed. And there's Christian Dudzik, who went flying, and he lost the football. And Northern Iowa's got it. And another big turnover on special teams for NDSU. It's the 2nd time they have lost a fumble on kickoff returns.
You talk about sudden change as a coach, and you try to prepare your players for that type of situation.
I'm not sure if he wasn't down.
And I was going to say that was a lot closer, I believe, than what it appeared live.
So UNI's offense right back on the field.
And you can see number 7, Johnson, is not on the field.
Owens eludes one tackler. Ducks inside to about the 19-yard line. Good pickup on first down of 5. Owens, a former quarterback in high school, is kind of the possession guy, their version of Ryan Smith for NDSU. His father played at UNI from 1982 to 85. Cole Morgan again. This time gives it to Smith. Smith another carry. Picks up a yard. Will bring up 3rd and 4.
You've got to wonder right now if there's something wrong with Johnson or if they're just pulling him out. But this is certainly not the time where you have a player of his ability to have him on the sideline. So he must be nicked up. I can see him standing over there without his helmet on. And I really thought at the end of that last possession that he looked really, really gassed. So whether they're just giving him a break or what, but this is a huge, huge turning point in this football game.
And UNI is within the Superior Inc. red zone. As Cole Morgan fires to Owens, just out of his outstretched hands inside the 10, incomplete. Will force a field goal attempt from Severson, and a stop there for the Bison defense, and it was a big one.
A couple times now you've seen that when the UNI is expecting pressure, they're moving the pocket. He's going to his left. He's a right-handed quarterback. He's almost kind of getting a little bit of a wheel route here, or back shoulder peel back type route, just out of the outstretched arms, and certainly a great effort there by the wide receiver trying to make a play.
36-yard attempt here for Severson. He was good from 50 earlier, which set a career high. 36-yarder is up And it is good. Severson dialed in, 3 for 3 in field goal attempts here this afternoon, and the UNI lead is up to 13 as they take a look at Johnson right there, who may be cramping up or is having some sort of leg problem.
That is twice, though, and certainly UNI's in a great position. They got to look at this and say that they're playing as well as they possibly could play, and breaks are going their way. But on the same token, on 2 fumbled kickoff returns, they've only come away with 6 points. Both of those those possessions have started inside the Bison 20-yard line.
And that would certainly be a critical loss for UNI, one of their major weapons offensively. And that really changes the dynamics here the last 3:29 of this quarter, and certainly for the fourth quarter.
Well, it still does, and that's what I'm getting at, is when you only get a field goal right there, you put a touchdown on that ball game, that forces the Bison to do a completely different second half. But right now, the Bison are still only 2 touchdowns down to actually taking the lead in this football game, which is unbelievable that they would still have that opportunity being the turnovers that they've had.
Another trivia question from the North Dakota Soybean Council. What is North Dakota's second leading crop? We'll have the answer for you coming up after this kickoff. And the Bison offense has to do something here to answer what has been a real change and shift of momentum back to UNI. Ryan Smith back at his own 5. While it was blocked.
Got a crease.
Ryan Smith threw a crease, and Ryan Smith just about broke it. Still a nice return up to the 44, and that's where the Bison will start.
You could see right there, as soon as Ryan got that kickoff, or he caught the football, he made the little dip in, dip out, but see how fast he's already hitting it right there. And you could see that he saw the crease right out of the gate, and sometimes you just got to have enough courage that you're going to hit that thing going full speed. And you could see right there, he was a slip tackle away from taking that thing back to the house.
And Jalen Barnes might have saved a touchdown there for UNI. So we'll see what NDSU can do with the field position here, trailing by 13 to the number 4 UNI Panthers. O'Jury finds a crease, bounces outside and taken down by Whiting, but not until he picks up 9 yards inside UNI territory to the 47. And it looks like a Bison lineman is down, and I think that's Jack Plankers, the redshirt freshman from Leonard. And again, the Bison.
But you're seeing right there, Gimstead is in gear, and he rolled with the 2s during warm-ups, and he is now out on the football field. He was dressed, and he was going to be an emergency type situation. And certainly when you're down to a 3rd guard, you'd much rather, that's where the decision has to be made as a coach. Are you going to say Gimstead at 60, 70%? Is he better than 100% 4th-string guard?
Plankers is up, but not putting a lot of weight on that left side, and we'll see if Jamal Spencer can figure out what's going on with the redshirt freshman who played his high school football just down the road in Kindred. Take a look at our trivia brought to you by the North Dakota Soybean Council. I asked you, what is North Dakota's second leading crop? Well, wouldn't you know it? It's soybeans. Wheat is number 1. That doesn't surprise anybody. That trivia brought to you by the North Dakota Soybean Council.
You know, as deep as the Bison feel like they are, and they've had a lot of bodies, anytime you have multiple injuries to the same position group, that really can throw a wrench into what you're planning on doing. It doesn't matter which position group it is. When you lose 2 or 3 guys at that same spot, when you're playing with a 3rd or 4th guy, there is a drop-off.
Second and short coming up for the Bison. Option look goes to O'Jury, and O'Jury picks up about 5 yards to the 42. Good enough for an NDSU first down. So we'll have to see how Gimstead holds up. I believe hurt a knee on Wednesday in practice.
Little zone option. You saw that last week in short yardage and on the goal line from the Bison. Certainly it's been a play that's been used for many, many years here at North Dakota State, but it's successful in picking up a key first down.
And there's the true freshman, Whiting, who is down on the ground. Take a look at the No Doubt Mutual Insurance replay. Got kicked in the head a little bit right there. So they'll bring him off for, I'm sure, some concussion tests. See if he's good to come back in.
He's played a pretty good football game for a freshman in this type of situation. I thought he's played extremely well, so it'll be interesting to see what his backup has to offer and if the Bison attack him right out of the gate. Corner position, you're always on an island.
O'Jury again. Xavier Williams with the stop, but not until he picks up 3 yards to the 39.
I know the Bison coaching staff talked a lot about number 1, the outside linebacker for UNI, DeAndre Hall, but I tell you what, the defensive lineman, number 98, Xavier Williams, he's certainly been in, and I think everybody's eyes here in the Fargo Dome, the defensive player of the game for UNI all game long.
We tick close to 2 minutes to go here in the third quarter. And possession's running out here for the Bison. They got to do something with the football here. Empty set, 5 wideouts.
Same route that you saw last time.
And this ball is skipped through the hands of Ryan Smith. Would have been enough for a first down, wide open. But Jensen just missed him.
And there's something with that formation that the Bison certainly have the advantage. He has guys open all over the place right there. They ran that same little whip route that we talked about that he threw to Crockett. This time he had Sam O'Jury up top, but he had Ryan Smith running right down the chute. Just he didn't quite connect on it.
Another big third down coming up here for NDSU. They are 4 of 12 today. UNI pretty good this season on third down, giving up just 23% on third down. NDSU converting right around 65%. Here comes a blitz from Farley. And Jensen lost the football. It's still out. And NDSU gets back up on top of it. And I believe that was Zach Johnson getting on top of it for NDSU, and they avoid another critical turnover as Farley came up and no one picked him up.
Once again, the same blitz that they came untouched earlier in the football game, right through that B gap. It's a delayed blitz by that inside linebacker. Certainly there's something going on with the protection that the Bison are not seeing, or something that Northern Iowa saw on film that they could take advantage of. Bison very, very fortunate that Zach Johnson was able to get on that football. That football sat on that turf for a long time.
So LeCompte will boot it away, and LeCompte puts it up nice and high, trying to pin UNI deep. And I believe it's out of bounds, or it's not. They're going to say touchback, very close to being out at the 1-yard line. But it will be a touchback, and UNI will get it at the 20. Take another look at that one. I thought it was very close. Hard to see from our angle, obviously.
You know what, obviously the referee's right there, but I do believe that it did just go just inside the pylon.
Yeah, we didn't really see it there.
We're close. If you look right where that black rubber piece just shot up. It's close. Give these fans some life here to get the Bison defense some love.
Well, that was very close. So Cole Morgan will bring the offense back up, leading by 13. Johnson back in the game, and again he finds a lot of room. Grant Olson dragged him down from behind, but 9 more yards for Johnson, who now has 141 yards on just 11 carries so far here this afternoon.
He just changes the game, but there's something going on. He doesn't have the same body language after he's finishing runs that he did early on in the game. So whether it's an injury or whether it's just he's got no juice right now. But he looks tired or something's wrong.
Second and short. Play action. Owen has enough for a first down up to the 30. Jamal Spencer on the NDSU sideline has a report for us.
Injury, they're not sure how bad it is. He'll undergo further evaluation after the game, but you see the heavy ice on his leg. He looks to be done for the day.
So Jack Planker is looking like his afternoon is over, which means Tyler Gimstead will be counted on to go the rest of the way as we tick down to the end of the third quarter, and UNI leading this one by 13. Smith gets the carry. Follows some blockers, picks up about 3 yards to the 33. And when we come back with the fourth quarter, UNI will have a 2nd and 7 coming up. And it is the fourth quarter, so stand up and raise your 4 because it is the fourth quarter, and it's brought to you by PetroServe USA, home of the 4 for $4 hot stuff pizza and our $10,000 PetroServe USA Bison pregame show giveaway. As As we mentioned, it's the fourth quarter, so stand up and raise your four. Brought to you by PetroServe USA, home of the 4 for $4 hot stuffed pizza and $10,000 PetroServe USA Bison pregame show giveaway. And Coach Bowl hoping that his troops can rally here in the fourth to overcome a 13-point deficit on their home field to number 4 ranked UNI. The top ranked Bison coming in at 4-0. UNI at 4-0. And Grant Olson takes down Johnson on the carry after only a gain of 1. So a big 3rd down and 6 coming up here for the Panthers.
Let's hear you on the strength of the herd.
Cole Morgan will roll and fire. And this one well out of bounds. Nowhere near his intended target, Owens. That will bring up a punting situation for the Panthers. You notice a lot, Kevin, they've been rolling the pocket, moving the pocket a lot, especially in these 3rd and longs.
Yeah, and you know what? I think that was unfortunate for UNI because if they pick up that 1st down right there, they're going to take another 2 to 3 minutes off this clock, even if they don't score, and they're going to flip this field. Bison get a key stop right there. That is a huge stop for that Bison defense, and they're still going to be able to play their normal style of offense, because if they put one on the board and still have 9-10 minutes left to play, Bison will be in prime position to win this game.
Another short punt. Beagler bounces one out of bounds at about the 30-yard line. Make it the 32.
You just kind of wonder. You wonder if the depth is going to come into play right here. We've talked about the defense. They don't have a lot of depth, that they play a lot of bodies. Same thing offensively. It's just going to be interesting to see if Northern Iowa can finish out this football game. And on the flip side of that, see if guys like Gimmistick can come up and make some big plays and play through some pain and make a big play. And they're going to need guys like Kerry Woods to come up with that catch like he had in the 1st half.
Jensen will throw on 1st down, and this one complete to Vra. Vra taken down by Dorleant after pickup of 6 up to the 37.
Once again, we've seen some success in the quick game, but we haven't seen the wide receivers being able to get downfield. Or Bison offense has not taken many shots downfield.
Again, you can't mention it enough, Kevin. The 2 fumbles on the kickoffs have led to 6 UNI points, but outside of that has really cost NDSU a couple of possessions.
Yes, and that's the rhythm that we're talking about, and that's where you're going to see that UNI is going to keep their secondary in that 2-deep shell, and they're not going to give away those big pass play options for the Bison.
John Crockett bouncing outside, tries to spin out of a tackle. Well done by Kilfoy, wrapping him up after a gain of 2 down to the 39. We'll bring up 3rd and short. Another 3rd down coming up for the Bison. Again, struggle a little bit on this down. There's just 4 of 13 today.
This is a little bit better situation than a lot of the other 3rd downs. So we're in 3rd and 4. A lot of the 3rd down misses have been in 3rd and 6 and longer. So this is certainly a big play. They've gone to that empty formation again that we've seen success. They've had guys open. Now we just got to stick it on them.
Jensen will take off with it. Quarterback draw, middle of the field, wide open, and Jensen off to the races. Takes it down inside the UNI 40, down to the 37. Good enough for a Bison 1st down. Nodak Mutual Insurance replay, and the C's parted here, Kevin.
You could see they ran a twist. He got a great block on the interior. I couldn't see what number it was, but he got a great cave down block. There was no spy like we've seen some of the other plays by number 98, Williams. So right there, Brock Jensen just saw that thing open up, and you could see big, strong run, getting a big play downfield.
Big pickup there of close to 25 yards for Jensen. Play action. And Jensen going downfield looking for Ryan Smith, and this one is overthrown. Kilfoy on the coverage as Jensen took a shot at the end of that one.
But I like what they did. They had the one-on-one coverage. They got him locked up into where they weren't in too deep. He had the play action. He just overshot it, but you had him in position, and I think it's going to be one of those that's, if they can get some rhythm, again, I keep bringing that up, but if they can get that established, there might be a shot like that that's going to come down the road that they might connect on.
Give to John Crockett, squeaks through a hole, and some fancy footwork by John Crockett. Picks up close to 9 inside the 30, down to about the 28.
You can see Northern Iowa. They're obviously concerned that they're going to start getting gashed in the run game. They're starting to roll a lot of coverage. You can see right there the Bison were in a 2 tight end set, 2 wide receiver set to the field. They rolled the cover 3 down to there. Backside tight end, inside zone. That's where it's 1 tackle away from slipping that and taking that to the house.
Where NDSU has had an advantage is time of possession. They've had the ball about 10 minutes longer than UNI. We'll see if that plays a factor here down the stretch. Crockett again, putting the pads down, and John Crockett still moving forward. First down to the UNI 15.
And you see about 3 or 4 UNI players on a knee getting up very, very slow from the pile.
And we got somebody down for UNI behind the play.
Boy, you talk about strength that we've been talking about. Johnson right there, Crockett.
Lander Grothman, he couldn't even find anybody to block there initially. Kilfoy missed a tackle. Ray Mitchell in there, he missed a tackle. I think Kilfoy's the guy that's down. Kilfoy has been a big part of this UNI defense. Certainly today, he's made a lot of tackles here so far this afternoon. Came up, tried to stick John Crockett, but not sure what happened there as he went down.
You know, he had his head down, and certainly anytime you have your head down, you know, you worry about any type of concussion or any type of back injury or neck injury. Looks like he's kind of moving his fingers around, so he might have a stinger or some tingling going on. They've been pretty cautious on moving him pretty slow on getting up.
Kilfoy 9 tackles today as NDSU moves inside the red zone, and it is the Superior Inc. red zone. And John Crockett approaching that 100-yard mark. He has 96 yards on 14 carries here this afternoon and has been very effective, averaging almost 6 yards a run. They'll go back to Crockett, following his blockers inside. Gets about 3, maybe 4, down to the 11. Isaac Ailes in on that stop for Northern Iowa, along with Mitchell. No Dyke Mutual Insurance replay. Option look, Jensen to Crockett to the outside, and nice pursuit there by UNI. Mitchell came up and made the stop. Omley also in at safety. Chris Jepson, senior from Urbandale, Iowa, also in on that stop for Northern Iowa.
The lead option play that we talked about earlier, the Bison offense put their formation into the boundary, trying to get the coverage to roll that way. They did not roll that way like they have been earlier in this drive. Should have been a bigger play than what we just saw right there.
Another critical 3rd down here, 3rd and 6. Northern Iowa showing blitz. Here they come. Jensen out to Smith, and he just didn't quite turn around fast enough. Had enough for a 1st down and was open, but again incomplete. So what does Craig Bull do here? No Dyke Mutual Insurance replay.
Got a little fade and an out route right there. Same thing, he should have got his head around just a little bit quicker. Ball was thrown slightly behind him, but a play that Ryan typically makes. Almost, I agree with this. I agree with the going for it right now. You don't know how many more possessions that you're going to get. A field goal still makes it a 10-point ball game, which means obviously you got to have 2 touchdowns basically to win this football game. I like the aggressiveness.
4th and 6 at the 11. More pressure from UNI. Across the middle, Zach Fraw! Touchdown, North Dakota State. They beat the true freshman, Whiting.
see a lot of fade routes out of Zach Frost, so that's, you know, you got to wonder if Whiting's been coached up. Take away the fade, and the easier route, or the easier throw is the slant route. As a defensive back, you never want to give up the easy inside release, which he did right there for Zach Frost.
Heller adds the extra point. On the Ag Country Farm Credit Services scoreboard, Jensen DeVra, 11 yards, makes it a 23-17 ball game. Stay with us. The conclusion coming up. Lecomte's getting set to boot away another Peterson Farm Seed kickoff. Kick off your planning season with Peterson Farm Seed. UNI's lead down to 6. So Lecomte angles one. Taken by DeAndre Hall at the 5, and Hall bumped into by Colvin. And then a host of eyes and take him down around the 21. Shows the diversity of Hall, a guy that actually plays defensive back, kind of a linebacker rover, and also returns some kicks. Shepard in on that tackle. Let's take another look at that touchdown. Low angle from Jensen DeVra from 11 yards out. Critical play on 4th and 6.
Just throwing a strike. You can see right there, Brock right out of the gate put his eyes to the field side, but right away at the pre-snap, I think he knew exactly where he was going with that football, and after he just got that safety move very briefly, he could get his eyes right now on Zach Frost.
And the Fargo Dome has come back to life. Smith with the carry. Taken down by Travis Beck. Picks up 3 down to the 24.
I go back to that last possession, though, when the UNI had 3rd and somewhat short, that was the play call that they had, and I thought it was very, very key that the Bison get off the field, because once again, we talked about they could be within a touchdown and have this football with about 6 minutes left in this ball game.
And NDSU going nickel once again. Olsen and Littlejohn the backers, and Shepard in as the extra defensive back. Drevelo on the pressure, got to Morgan, took him down for a loss of 6. Ryan Drevelo comes up with the sack. His first of the season. Just beat his man, didn't he, Kevin?
Yep, and you know what, right here, when you got Johnson out of the field, you really got to think this quarterback's a little bit handcuffed. He's really got Vereen as his only guy out there that's going to be a playmaker in this situation. They've got to figure out a way of somehow on getting him the football, because I believe he's the only guy that can do it something big against this Bison defense.
Here comes Hegel on the blitz. Pressure comes, and Vereen made a tremendous adjustment, making the catch as Cole Morgan took a shot on 3rd and long. And Williams beaten again.
Once again, we talked about the play he made right before the half on that touchdown catch. Obviously, he's got very good body control, and he does a nice job of positioning himself right there. The UNI quarterback took a tremendous hit on hanging onto that football as long as he possibly could. Once again, Vereen's the only guy that's going to make a difference in this football game as long as Johnson's out.
Play clock down to 5. Carnes is in the ball game, gives it to Smith. Smith squeaks through a hole. Host of Bison, including Grant Olson, take him down, but a good pickup on 1st down of 6 for Smith, who's really become the feature back. His 7th carry has about 20 yards. Cole Morgan back in. Cole Morgan in, split to the bottom of your screen. Carnes back at quarterback again. Carnes on the keeper. Forced back up inside, maybe got one. Will bring up 3rd and 3.
Once again, I think UNI coaching staff searching for something that isn't there. And that goes back to putting him back at quarterback right now. They're trying to find some more athleticism out in the field and try to put Bison defense in tough position. But once again, keep harping on it, but they've got to find a way to get Vereen the football, whether it's on a little quick game or whether it's down the field like they've consistently shown that they are capable of doing.
Big 3rd down for Northern Iowa. They're only 2 of 11 on 3rd down here this afternoon. And it's loud in the Fargo Dome. Cole Morgan. Tipped. And Danny Lukey almost came up with it. Kyle Emanuel came clean and drilled Cole Morgan in the back. Punting situation coming up for Northern Iowa.
Panthers dodged one right here. He did not even see him coming off the edge. Danny's in this more of a spy look. He's just going to get his hands up. Remember, he's all of 6'5". He used to play tight end. He can come down with those type of balls. That's a heck of a play, though, by Danny Lukey, getting the Bison defense off the field.
So third down stop for the Bison defense. Beegler hangs one up there. Boy, another short punt. Bounces back to the 23. And that's where NDSU will have it. Ag Country Farm Credit Services scoreboard. UNI clinging to a 6-point lead. Bison got it at their own 23 when we come back. A battle of FCS heavyweights. No better way to watch it than in high definition. Brought to you by the North Dakota Corn Growers, who invite you to try the new E15, America's most tested fuel, trusted by NASCAR for over 4 million miles. More at ndcorn.org. End around there to Cooper Wallow, and that time it was snuffed out. Farley on the stop, loss of 4.
Same formation that we saw earlier where Cooper had a nice run right there. The Bison have a nice misdirection play off of it that we've seen a few years ago at Montana State, where Brock takes that thing and they pull the both guard and the tackle around, and they get a nice little seam down the sideline. Don't think that Coach Viggs maybe isn't putting that in his hip pocket.
DeAndre Hall, excuse me, on that stop. He's been running all over the field today. 4 receivers. On 2nd and 14. Jensen fires in the flat to Ryan Smith, makes a nice adjustment and a catch. Picked up 5 yards, and 3rd and 9 coming up here for the Bison. Big third down coming up.
That was a heck of a catch by Ryan Smith. That's fully extended. I'm going to give Ryan some love. Maybe was he 5'9"?
On a good day.
With his cleats on.
5 receivers, top of the screen is Kevin Bodlin, the tight end.
Last time we saw this, Brock Jensen had a big run right down the middle out of this exact same formation.
Jensen will fire, and this one off the pads of Ryan Smith. Well thrown football, but he just dropped it. Incomplete. Flag. And I think it's going to be on UNI. Oh, this could be critical. Wow.
Personal foul. Hands to the face. Number 98 on the defense. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
So instead of a punting situation with 5:40 to go, Xavier Williams called for illegal hands to the face. Will be a first down up at the 40. Huge play right there for NDSU and UNI. Sometimes you need breaks, Kevin, and that's a big one.
And you know what? The breaks haven't gotten the Bison way this whole football game, so that was maybe the one that they needed. Pistol formation here.
Jensen will keep. Not much there. Maybe a yard to the 41. A couple guys came flying in. Jepson, Sam Tim, and Williams in on another tackle as well.
You know, I think Brock's one of those guys that wants to make a play when he has it there. And right there, it's a little zone read play right there. And I think a lot of the crowd thought the running back had the football. And it was maybe one of those times that Brock should have given the football.
We tick down now to 5 minutes to go. O'Jury taken down after a gain of 3 up to the 44. Will bring up 3rd and 6. And another UNI Panther down. And that might be Farley. Hard to tell. It is Farley down. Transferred from the University of Kansas. Certainly hope he's okay. With the injury, we will take a quick timeout and be back with more from the Fargo Dome. Things heating up. 5 minutes to go. Bison trailing by 6 on the Ag Country Farm Credit Services scoreboard. If you have a weak stomach, folks, don't look. Not good news there for Jake Farley. Young man that actually overcame a broken leg at the University of Kansas. Numerous injuries, came back, transferred to play for his father. We certainly wish the best of luck for that young man getting back in his recovery. A number of his teammates out to wish him well, and he's going to be carted off. Unfortunately, Kevin, I think his 2013 season may very well be over.
Yeah, I'd be shocked. Just when you look at the replay of that, you kind of almost think that somebody had seen or unfortunately heard something, because right when that happened, number one, the helmet came off pretty intensely, and the training staff came out, and so did his father. And so you knew right away that maybe something pretty serious on that play happened. As you can see on the replay there, be shocked if it wasn't broken.
The leading tackler on this UNI squad. A very smart football player. That's what everybody say when they talk about Farley, is just how smart he is.
You got to believe he's grown up in a film room.
Can believe that.
Heard a lot of football.
18,840 on hand to see this one at the Fargo Dome. Thanks for joining us here on KVLY in the Valley and across the NBC North Dakota Sports Network. And thanks to those of you joining us on Fox College Sports Pacific and also on Fox Sports North Plus. Glad you all could be with us for this key Missouri Valley Conference matchup between number 4 UNI and number 1 North Dakota State. Both of these teams we will likely see in the playoffs here in just a couple of months. But, you know, when you talk about a game this early in the season, is it going to determine a conference championship? Maybe not. But when you start looking at things like home field in the playoffs and national rankings and that type of thing, there is some merit here. It does mean something.
I think this is huge as far as what it's going to mean. And this sounds terrible, not necessarily for the Missouri Valley Championship, but for the team that's going to host throughout the playoff. And that's been one of the main reasons I believe the Bison have been so successful, is that because they've played here at home throughout every playoff game the last couple years. Certainly if you get a UNI team that is hosting throughout, they're going to have a very similar home field advantage in a dome type setting, just like here in the Fargo Dome.
This game recap brought to you by Bobcat. Total yardage pretty close. No turnovers for UNI today. Northern Iowa 6 off 2 kickoff return fumbles. And that's the difference in the ball game right now.
These inside linebackers, they've had big-time hole droppers right here on this pass read. It's opening up the middle of the field.
3rd and 6, and Jensen takes off, and he does it again with the legs. Into UNI territory, down to the 47.
That's almost one of those where you're just saying, hey, let's call a pass play, but Brock is going to be there. I mean, right now, they've got nobody in the middle of the field. Those guys right now, those inside linebackers who are lined up over the guards, are responsible for the 10 to 12-yard hook to curl zone, and there is nobody in the middle of the field.
Fresh set of downs for the Bison at the UNI 47. Can the Panther defense make a play here to stop the Bison? O'Jury on the edge. Finds more room. Taken down at the 41, but another nice gain. Close to 7 on first down. As we tick down to 4 minutes.
We talked earlier that Brock maybe was trying to pull a football that he shouldn't have. Easy read right there. Give the football. Sam does a nice job of just finishing that run. Key right here is also hanging on to the football. A turnover would probably end this football game.
Perkins in motion. Play action. Jensen wants to go up top to his big receiver. And a flag comes in. Draw the intended target. D'Orleans.
We said it just a little bit ago about Coach Vigen taking a shot when it presented himself. Last time it was on 1st and 10. This time it's on 2nd medium. He got the man coverage he wanted. He got over the top of it. puts that tough judgment call on the referees, which in this type of setting, a lot of times you're going to get that call.
So the Bison now down to the 26, first down on the pass interference penalty. Looked like Dorleant had pretty good position, but not sure if he turned his head, looked for the ball, or made contact prior to the football getting there.
Coach Farley right now would like to speak with the white hat, and he's not having anything to do with it.
Jensen will keep it this time. Jensen plunging forward down to the 19, pick up at 6 more yards, and the Bison moving the football here as we tick down to 3 minutes to go. Can Mark Farley's defense hang on here for this series and keep the Bison out of the end zone without their leading tackler? O'Jury. Oh, boy, all sorts of room for Sam O'Jury. Sam O'Jury! Touchdown, North Dakota State! Missed tackles everywhere, Kevin.
Yep, you know what? They got the little misdirection to hold that outside linebacker. Once again, the offensive line doing a nice job on that push. Talked about those creases because of the upfield pressure that UNI is having, is creating those running lanes.
And Keller adds the extra point, and NDSU has its first lead of the afternoon with 2:52 to go. Take a look at it, Kev. Nodak Mutual Insurance replay.
You know, great block by Gimstead right there. He got into the inside linebacker, probably where Farley was normally going to be. You got an inexperienced guy, and you got a big physical player like Gimstead who's been waiting his chance now. Right there, you can see the seal, and he's the one who got basically the finishing block that allowed Sam O'Jury to get onto those safeties and make them miss.
So UNI trailing by 1, but they still have time. 3 timeouts.
You know what, if you're going to look at it as a half-full guy for UNI's perspective, you got to say, you know what, if it looked like the Bison were going to score on that drive no matter what. And if anything just happened, it happened fast enough where they've got 2 minutes and 52 seconds and 3 timeouts left. I just keep looking at the key difference in this football game is, number one, is Johnson going to be on the field? Because if Johnson's not on the field, Vereen's the only guy that can attack this Bison secondary or this Bison defense and make a big explosive play.
Another Peterson Farm Seed kickoff coming up for NDSU. Kick off your planning season with Peterson Farm Seed, and Hall back once again. We have not seen Carnes the last couple of kickoffs here for NDSU. So we'll see what LeCompte decides to do here on this kickoff, if he'll angle it one way or another. And he's going to quick it towards Hall. Hall at his own 1. Took a big shot. Esley Thornton, the junior from Bismarck, makes the big stick. And UNI will have to start deep in their own territory at the 17.
That's a big-time hit, and that's the spark that the Bison special teams needed, of course, to wake up this crowd if they weren't already. But I keep going back to the explosive bodies that UNI can put on the field. Now, Johnson's on the field, but I kind of think that's why he's back on kickoffs, for example, just because he's the one guy that could be a difference maker.
So Johnson is back on the field, split to the bottom of your screen. Cole Morgan fires. Nobody home for Northern Iowa, and Christian Dudzik had a beat on it. 2nd and 10.
Difference now, though, when you get that empty formation. In the past, the Bison defense had to be locked up in man coverage. Now, because of the situation, the Bison are going to play maybe man under 2 over the top, which isn't going to allow them to get the same matchups that they were getting with Grant Olson earlier in the game.
Cole Morgan so far today, 12 of 27 for 128 yards and a touchdown.
This is where the Bison defensive line has got to be able to get pressure, maybe with only 4.
And they only bring 4. Here they come, looking for Johnson. Littlejohn on the coverage as Cole Morgan again was under pressure. Mike Hardy putting the pressure on this time. 3rd and 10 coming up.
You know, athletically, we talked about the matchup before that they somehow got, and I'm not trying to take anything away from Grant Olson, but Grant Olson matched up against him was a lot different look than Carlton Littlejohn matched up against Johnson.
3rd and 10. Johnson does not look 100%. He limps out of the huddle. 5 receiver set. Pressure comes. Cole Morgan high, incomplete. Looking for Owens, overthrew it. 4th and 10 coming up. Does Farley go for it here with 3 timeouts remaining?
I think you got to punt the football.
And I think they're going to. Craig Bull waving his arm saying, no pass rush. Regular defense, we're not taking any chances. Ryan Smith back to take the return. Beagler puts the toe to it.
Best punt of the day.
Fair catch at his own 34, and the Bison have the football back with 2:20 to go. And Cole Morgan saw some pressure in that series, Kevin.
And you know what? It came from the 4, and that's what we were talking about. They didn't have to line up in man coverage. They can play 2 over the top, but especially when you get guys like Kyle Emanuel, and the Bison did all kinds of twisting on that defensive line. And right now, it just doesn't seem like that UNI is able to play the brand of football that they'd want to for the full 4 quarters. And that comes down to depth.
And NDSU with 1 first down could pretty much turn out the lights.
1 first down, and you know that this is something that the Bison work on each and every week. It's called the 4-minute offense. Now, obviously, at this point, it's 2.5 minutes, and all they need is a first down. And they'll pretty much be able to take a knee and sneak out of this game with a victory.
2 tight ends. O'Jury eludes 1 tackler, and O'Jury off to the races again. And there goes Sam O'Jury in UNI territory down to the 40. And a missed tackle in the hole, Kevin. Open that thing right up. Gakey had a shot at him right there.
That's what happens when you got to gamble. And right now, UNI's in the situation where they got to get a lot of hats in the hole, and it's got to be real fast and try to create penetration and possibly create a turnover. Instead, 1 missed tackle turns into a 40, 50-yard gain. I really like what Sam did right there. He was going to go down inbounds no matter what. He was going to dive down and make sure that this clock was rolling.
We tick under 2 minutes. No timeout taken yet. And with 1 on the play clock, Jensen gets it off, and it's John Crockett. Crockett spinning outside, and he's pushed out of bounds, so the clock will stop with 1:44 to go. He did pick up about 4 yards, but again, stopping the clock.
Yeah, that's probably bigger. You know what? You'd rather have a 2-yard gain and make him burn a timeout than a 4-yard gain and get that thing out of bounds.
O'Jury, again, another big hole. Picked up 3 yards. Northern Iowa is going to burn a timeout here as NDSU will have a 3rd and 3 coming up.
You know, as a coach, you got to sit here and start to think, okay, obviously, best case scenario, Bison get a first down, take a knee, game's over. Okay, if they do not get a first down, you are in that position on the field where are you going to punt the football or potentially put a field goal team out there, or are you just going to go for it on 4th down? Just saying right now, that's the kind of stuff that's going through Coach Bull's mind. Number 1, a field goal. Yeah, it makes it so that they have to score a touchdown to win, but it's a long field goal, which means those field goals come out low. Game-changing play could happen if you get up in the air, and I've seen a couple times I've been impressed with the UNI leaping ability on some of these extra points.
I think it all depends what happens here on 3rd down. If the ball does not move from here, I would suspect a punt.
Oh, I agree. I'm talking if it goes down to 4th and 2-ish range. 4th and 1, I think he's going for it.
That's what we're paid to be up here and not paid to be down there, Kevin.
We're getting paid.
Apparently. O'Jury. And Sam stays on his feet. He got close. He's going to be about 1.5 yards short as Northern Iowa burns another timeout. And that's going to give Craig Bohl time to think about what he wants to do here. Well, can you pick up 1.5 yards?
You know what? That's what this team is built on. I think this is going to be a strong message sent by Coach Bohl. I'm purely speculating, but I feel like he's going to go for this.
1.5 yards here, and you've won the football game. You don't get it. Northern Iowa needs about, I don't know, 25, 30 yards to make it close.
He's hit a 50-yard field goal today.
And I don't see the punt team coming on, so I do think the Bison are going for it. Look at the two head coaches. And here comes the beef for NDSU. Grothman, the fullback, will lead him. O'Jury, the tailback. Jensen on 4th and 1. And O'Jury did not get there. He lost 2. And Northern Iowa's going to have a shot with 1:28 to go.
Got a little bit of penetration in this B gap right here. You can see right there. His slant was to the strength of the formation. Billy's guys kind of tried to sub him, which means he's going to try and take his knees out, which, of course, against a guy like Billy Turner, when you can't physically match up against him, you're just trying to create a pile. Go back to the one timeout that was saved by the Bison offense going out of bounds. Keeps UNI with the chance here.
UNI needs about 30 yards to get within field goal range for Severson. Cole Morgan fires. And nearly intercepted. Lynn's the entire receiver. C.J. Smith came in to make a play on the football. Will bring up 2nd and 10. And Johnson's still out there, but he's not moving very much. At least he didn't on that play.
And you know what, personnel-wise, if he was capable, you'd almost want to put him in there as a receiver, but I like the fact that they kept a running back in to help protect. But he get another athlete out on the edge. Once again, Vereen is the guy that the Bison almost are going to probably put 2 over the top of.
Cole Morgan throws it to nobody. I think Johnson was the intended target, was in the hole, maybe a middle screen. So 3rd and 10 coming up. 1:17 to go. In a top 5 matchup nationally, and a critical game in the Missouri Valley Conference. You're the offensive coordinator, Kevin. What are you doing here on 3rd and 10?
I'm going to try and find Vereen, isolate him as much as you possibly can. You know what? Right now he's matched up against Marcus Williams. The last time he was on the other side of the field.
Cole Morgan's going to fire deep, and it is intercepted by C.J. Smith. Game over.
It's a great play on the football. The wide receiver was out of bounds, though. Had he come back down with that, I don't think that play would have stood anyways.
C.J. Smith, his 2nd interception of the season. And the Bison are looking like they're going to sneak out of here with a 1-point victory over number 4 UNI. Great football game, Kev.
I tell you what, it was everything that was built up to be, and it's certainly one of those games that you could say the Bison didn't play perfect, didn't have to play perfect, but that's a sign of a championship football team when you can beat a quality football team and have a lot of the things that happened to the Bison today that went wrong and still come out on top.
UNI will burn its final timeout with 1:08 to go, and NDSU would only have to kneel down 2 more times to run out the clock. Nodak Mutual Insurance replay. And again, Vereen not the intended target there. They went after Lentz instead.
You know, which a little bit, I guess, surprised me. Number one, that you would put him on that side of the field, match him up with Marcus Williams. Where before, on the play before, on the middle screen play, they did get man coverage. You know, certainly it was a predetermined middle screen, which is a good call in that situation, but they got the look that they wanted maybe the play before as far as the coverage.
And Sawyer Colmorgan has been a cool customer throughout the day and throughout his career at UNI. That's an early career, only a sophomore, but today only 12 of 33 for 128 yards, a touchdown and interception. He came into this game 8 touchdowns, no picks, 70% completion rate. As Mark Farley is talking to the white hat about something out there.
Couple key things, though, I still go back to when we talked about the 6 points. 6 points off of 2 turnovers inside the Bison 20-yard line, and only coming away with 6 points. A lot of key situations that I think both teams can look at the positives of this situation and say, you know what, we had our chances. Bison had certainly their chances to make this a much different football game. 2 teams that are going to be big factors when it's all said and done. But like I said before, I think it's going to come down to UNI. Are they going to have the depth to make that late November, December run? Because that's what it comes down to is, will they be able to stay healthy? Will they be able the amount of players? It just seems like they don't have enough in the rotation, especially defensively.
Jensen needs one more, Neil, and that's going to do it. NDSU 13 down coming into the 4th quarter, rallies for a 24-23 victory to move to 5-0 and remain in first place of the Missouri Valley Football Conference, with Missouri State coming into the Fargo Dome next Saturday. And UNI, of course, will have to rally back from this loss. Not going to be happy about it. Craig Bowl certainly will be. UNI will have to rally back without their defensive leader, Jake Farley. Certainly hope that young man has a quick recovery on what's going to be look to be a pretty devastating injury. Jamal Spencer will catch a word with head coach Craig Bowl as he comes off the field. And Jamal has Coach Craig Bowl.
This one certainly turned out to be the heavyweight fight that we all thought it was going to be. How proud are you of your guys coming back from 13 down?
Well, really proud, especially when we weren't playing as good as what we could. You know, turnovers in this type of game are usually going to decide, and I thought the resolve and focus of our guys never to give up and keep plugging really speaks volumes about their character. We're a great team together, and it showed up this afternoon.
There are a lot of things to overcome. You mentioned turnovers and things like that, penalties, and some injuries, guys.
We had injuries. C.J. Smith dislocated his shoulder. We didn't think he would play. Tyler Gimmelstedt, no way he was going to play. We're down a lineman. These guys found a way to get it done. Can't say how proud we are of them.
All right, congrats on the win, Coach. All right, there you go, guys. Another big win for NDSU.
Yeah, you talked about it, Jamal, doing it without a couple of offensive starters. You got to patch things together, and that's where depth comes in, certainly at this FCS level. NDSU 24-23 victors over number 4 UNI. We'll be back with more after this from the Fargo Dome. Back at the Fargo Dome in Fargo, North Dakota, the top-ranked Bison, top-ranked team in FCS, knocking off number 4 Northern Iowa 24-23, and a game that UNI led the entire way until 3 minutes to go in the game, Kevin. And sometimes you save the best for last, and that's what happened here today.
And you know what, and we talked about depth over and over again, but I think the biggest thing is right there, you saw that the Bison offensive line, I think Tyler Gimmelstedt coming back in that football game, not to take anything away from Jack Plankers. I have no idea necessarily what the injury was or exactly how he played, but you know what, sometimes when you get that look and you're looking that guy right in the eye, and that's the guys that have won a lot of football games. And if you notice, the Bison were able to run the football there towards the end of the football game.
Fresher team, deeper team, we saw that. The Nodak Mutual Insurance player of the game is Zach Vra, coming up with the big catch. Only had 4 catches for 33 yards, but the huge one here on 4th and 6 really kept NDSU in the football game.
And you know what? It's an easy slant route. We talked about it during the game. I think he beat him on the little inside route. It's an easy pitch and catch. And Zach Vra is certainly a possession-type receiver who's going to come up with those plays most of the time.
And NDSU moves to 5-0, Kevin. And I think right now they got to be feeling pretty good. Homecoming next week. They go on the road to SIU in a couple of weeks, but the schedule schedule setting up pretty well for them here down the stretch.
And you know what? You start looking at the gauntlet that you just played, okay? You had South Dakota State on the road, big rivalry game, Northern Iowa, which it's almost a bigger rivalry game than South Dakota State, just because I think the love lost between these two teams. And now, yes, you come back, you got homecoming next week, and certainly every team in the Valley can win these football games. But on the same token, I think the Bison have just shown they've taken on probably the two of the pretty high-end teams in the Valley and come out successful without playing perfect football.
And we saw, too, injuries playing a factor. We certainly hope Jake Farley is going to be okay. That did not look good. And then David Johnson lost. That played a factor in the game late. They really could not go to him as much as they would have liked. But we're excited to be here. We're excited to bring these games to you in high definition. And we'll be back with you next week from the Fargo Dome as NDSU takes on Missouri State. Join us at 2 o'clock for the PetroServe USA Bison football pregame show. Kickoff at 2:37 from the Fargo Dome. We're looking forward to seeing you again next week. The Bison are 5-0 for the 24-23 victory. For Jamal Spencer, Beth Houle, Kevin Feeney, our entire NBC North Dakota sports crew, I'm Brian Shawn saying so long from Fargo, North Dakota.